It's a Saturday afternoon at Peoria Stadium, and a trip to the second round of the 5A playoffs is on the line. Today on Clutch Sports Media, the Morgan Park Mustangs have traveled down to Peoria to square off against the Peoria Lions. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the show. I'm Joey Wright with Larry Larson. Larry, it's playoff time in Peoria. Both of these teams with playoff ambitions. Peoria seated 8th in the 5A class. Morgan Park 9th on paper, an even matchup.
Definitely is, Joey. You look at these rosters, so many great athletes. We've seen the Lions all season long. Eddie Clark, Tino Geist, their quarterback, guys that just get the job done. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
And Morgan Park comes down south, if you will, about a 2.5-hour drive with a couple of key guys. Aaron Warren at quarterback. Let's start there.
Yeah, Aaron Warren, a senior quarterback. Michael O'Brien from the Sun-Times called him one of the most explosive players to watch in the city. Whenever O'Brien says that, you got to keep your eyes on him. So he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Michael O'Brien, certainly a guy that knows his football. He's been a great friend of Clutch Sports Media for some time. Looking back at Peoria, I got to keep my eye on Eddie Clark tonight, because when we saw him in Week 8 against, that would have been Week 9 against Peoria Notre Dame, put on a heck of a show. Lions got the job done 40-35 to enter the playoffs, so I've got to look at Clark tonight.
The Peoria area has so many good running backs, but Clark has to be at the top of the list, right? I mean, what he did against a very good PND defense, I think, is an indicator of what we could see this afternoon.
We'll see how it all plays out. The teams completing their warm-ups behind us. Let's go up to the booth for Clutch Sports Media's live coverage of playoff football, Morgan Park and Peoria. A tough matchup at home against Peoria. Welcome in live to the broadcast, everybody. I'm Joey Wright alongside Larry Larson. The entire Clutch Sports Media crew on tap today. John Michael behind our computer, Francisco Alonso behind our camera, Josh Schwam, Gavin Russell, and Jacob Steinberg, big parts of our coverage on the field. We point that out, Larry, because that's a little bit of a home field oddity Peoria may have working in its favor today. There is no operational scoreboard. The clock being kept underneath the bleachers, out of view or eye, so Gavin Russell's going to be calling that up to us as the game goes along. When Peoria played here last week against Peoria Notre Dame, there was no physical clock to look at all. The officials had to keep time on the field, so Peoria used to rolling with the bumps and the oddities here on their home field.
Yeah, Joey, you just got to roll with the punches. It's the playoffs. I'm sure the Lions, as well as the Mustangs, are focused on what they can control, but that clock is an oddity to say the least. I know there's a little controversy at the end of Week 9 between Peoria and Peoria Notre Dame because the game came down to the wire with the clock. The clock expired. If you ask PND, it expired a little early. If you ask Peoria, expired right on time. So we hope maybe something doesn't come down to that, but looking at both these teams, it's going to be a close game.
It will be a close game, and we see that when we look back at how these teams have fared so far this season. Both teams coming in on 3-game winning streaks. Peoria coming in off wins against Champaign Central, Urbana, and Peoria Notre Dame. Morgan Park took down Simeon, Hubbard, and Amundsen in weeks 7, 8, and 9. Wasn't particularly close for Morgan Park the last 2 weeks, but that Simeon win 27-21. And then in week 6, when we look at both teams' most recent losses, 21-8 against Kenwood for Morgan Park. Kenwood playing Champaign Centennial in a 6A matchup this afternoon. Peoria lost to Normal Community 42-38. Larry, you were at that game. How'd the Lions look in their most recent loss?
Well, in their most recent loss, Joey, they played a really good Normal Community team. They're now 10-0. They won their first-round game in 7A last night. That's a tough opponent. But Peoria played, on offense at least, in the passing game, very poorly. Tino Geist really struggled. Tino Gist, rather, had a tough game. He's a sophomore. He's going to make some mistakes, but I think he threw 3 or 4 interceptions. And when it came down to the wire, you could say that cost the Lions that matchup. But for that game to still be so close tells a lot.
Gist, a terrific quarterback for the Lions, does throw some interceptions. The Morgan Park defense is going to have to keep an eye on that this afternoon. Take a quick pause as the national anthem plays behind us. You're watching Clutch Sports Media's live coverage of IHSA playoff football. Welcome you back into Peoria Stadium. Clutch Sports Media ready to roll. Glad you're with us for a 5A heavyweight matchup. The first round of the IHSA playoffs pits the 9th-seeded Morgan Park Mustangs, 6-3 on the campaign, against the host Peoria Lions, 7-2. They are seeded 8th. There you get a look at the Morgan Park bench. They're ready to go. Came out for warm-ups about 30 minutes prior to our broadcast beginning. Larry, in warm-ups, what caught my eye with the Mustangs was Aaron Warren threw some dimes to his receivers, including Kendall Sprouts, Paul Branson, Kawan Davis was in on that, Justin Bisbee as well, also got some targets, but Warren throwing it 25, 30 yards down the field, perfect tight spirals, really I think is going to pose a threat to this Peoria defense today.
I would agree with that, Joey. Aaron Warren, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Michael O'Brien highlighted him as one of the city's premier football talents. And it's not often that we stand and watch warm-ups and see a player and think, holy mackerel, that guy is good. But Aaron Warren, his arm, I mean, he was throwing tight spirals. He's got some legitimate talent, and I'm excited to see how it plays out today. But I will say, that Lions defense poses a very unique threat to other teams. They go 12 across, rather 11 across. Nobody really lined up beyond the line of scrimmage, and so that different look can throw off a lot of teams.
If you're joining us from Morgan Park this afternoon and you haven't seen Peoria play this season, the one word that describes this Lions team, fast. They play fast on defense, if that's possible, with that 11 across scheme you mentioned. Offensively, they run as quickly as some of the top no-huddle offenses in the college game, and that guy that we look at when you say, holy mackerel, that guy is good for Peoria, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's got to start with Eddie Clark.
Yeah, it definitely does. Clark is a player that can take over a football game, and the Lions are going to give him a steady diet of handoffs. And when you focus too much on Clark, then they go to Deatrick Pollard. Pollard, a wide receiver, but he also can take some handoffs out of the backfield. He's a legit threat as well. So Clark, we've seen him go off for 200-plus yards multiple times this season, but also keep an eye on Pollard.
And the man in the middle of all of it for the Peoria Lions offense, the sophomore quarterback, Tino Gist. We are set and ready for kickoff in Peoria. Weather conditions favorable today. They certainly were not yesterday in what was a rainy opening night of the playoffs across Illinois. But the high-crowned grass field at Peoria Stadium has had a chance to dry out. It's had a chance to drain. Still might get a little muddy as we move forward, but it is a beautiful 57-degree day. Temperature expected to climb into the 60s as we move through this one. Very little wind. And no chance of rain. Morgan Park out onto the field. Looks like they will kick off to start things out. Handling the kicking duties in the pregame warm-ups was Ahmad Grayer, also listed as a defensive back. We'll see if the freshman gets things going for the Mustangs, and it looks like, Larry, that he will.
Joey, of course, with these kickoffs and the special teams, we talk about Peoria's unique style of offense, but on special teams they're also pretty unique. We'll see when the Lions kick off eventually. They don't send it deep. They onside kick every single time. So that's also a very interesting approach.
Grayer moves over, calls something out to Dante Hayes Jr., one of the better cornerbacks on this Morgan Park Mustangs team. Grayer's ready to send it deep. 12 minutes on the clock for the first quarter. Glad you're with us on Clutch Sports Media. Grayer addresses the ball and sends it deep to Robinson, and it goes over the head of Jalen Robinson for a touchback. 80 yards to drive for the Lions. They'll set up shop at their own 20.
And for the Lions, that's a conservative touchback there. They very well could have taken that ball out of the end zone, but I like that call. Good call to watch it sail deep. Set up the offense and then get the wheels turning.
Jalen Robinson and Eddie Clark, as you mentioned, letting it roll. Robinson lining up as a wide receiver. Clark lining up, I should say, behind his quarterback Gist. Do you think the Lions come out and show more pass or more run here as they start off the first quarter?
Now, I think on this first drive especially, you got to establish the run because Eddie Clark is your foremost offensive threat. You got to ground and pound, especially out of the gate.
Clark ready to go. Officials calling something out with the Morgan Park bench. Morgan Park led by head coach Chris James. Tim Thornton, the head coach of the Lions. As we get ready to go, Gist lines up with Clark. 4 wideouts for the Lions. Low snap, good handoff. No, play action as the Lions run it up the sideline. And how about that to start things out? Ricky Hearn, play action fooled me. It was a low snap. Gist did a good job of hauling it in.
Ricky Hearn, another explosive threat. The Lions have a lot of playmakers. As soon as you key in too much on Clark or any of the other guys, there's a guy like Hearn that can come out and make something happen. Good play call there to open the game. I like it.
Folks, this is what we talk about when we talk about Peoria's speed. Here's another pass out to Hearn as the Lions show no huddle, and Hearn going nowhere. Morgan Park comes in and makes the play. Larry, as I watched warm-ups, the guy I noticed seemingly led the defense was Dante Hayes Jr., and he comes up and makes a big stop on Hearn.
Yeah, they saw that play once. They read it like a storybook the second time. They weren't going to get burned again.
Here's Gist, another handoff to Clark. Third play, first run. Clark up past the 45 and brought down. So, Larry, as we speculated, they might come out a little more run-based. That's the first run in 3 plays they've run. It's the 4th play now. Another handoff to Clark. Clark gets it outside. He is so tough to bring down. 2 Mustangs finally do up past midfield.
Clark running hard as well. He is so hard to bring down. You look at his size, you maybe think he's not that intimidating to bring down, but he is. He just keeps those legs turning, so hard to tackle.
Gets another carry here. Ball's on the ground and loose. Let's see who fell on it. Peoria appears to have gotten it back. Clark gets it back. An early scare there for the Lions.
You hold your breath if you're Peoria there right away. As soon as Clark got to the line of scrimmage, he lost the football, and that was tough. A great punch by the defensive line for Morgan Park.
That's how you got to play a guy like Clark. You got to hit him quick. The Mustangs get in there. But, Larry, even as the Lions nearly turned it over, they're still going to go no huddle. They're not going to take any time to think about it. Back to the line we go. Working early in the first quarter. We don't have a game clock to see here, and that's nearly intercepted. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Near on the play was Keith Williams. Falls harmlessly to the grass, incomplete.
10 minutes, 12 seconds left on this first quarter clock. Clock giving us a hard time at Peoria Stadium today, but great play by the Morgan Park Mustangs defensive line, but Peoria comes back. They draw them off sides, so just as they made a great play, they get a little anxious on 3rd down.
Encroachment call gives 5 yards back to the Lions on what would have been 3rd down and 12. Should go forward 5 yards for a 3rd and 7. Officials call that out, and they're going to call that a false start against Peoria. Peoria initially signaled that Morgan Park jump first. Of course, both sides will jostle, try to get every inch they can. Goes from 3rd and 12 back to 3rd and 17 on the false start. Out of the game for Peoria comes Landon Newby-Holsom from the offensive line.
And in comes Jalen Robinson in the slot at the top of your screen.
Here's Gist dropping back to pass. Incomplete. Streaking up was Deatrick Pollard, who we mentioned a moment ago. Key guy in the Lions offense, can do a lot as a wide receiver. And on 4th down and 17, not quite past midfield yet, Larry. You'd think this would be a big special team situation for Peoria, but they're going to come out and looks like they're going to try to go for it.
Yeah, Kewan Davis on the coverage there, doing a good job to break that one up.
Gist sends 4 wide receivers out, 3 far side as you see, 1 towards us. Clark in the backfield. 4th and 17. Here's Gist dropping back. Screen play over to Clark. Clark loses his footing. In trouble. He's going to get enough for the first down, though. A good second effort from Clark.
That's a great play from Clark. That's the guy you want to put the ball in the hands of on a 4th and long situation. Great play call by Tim Thornton and company.
Eddie Clark getting the job done. Had blockers out in front of him. And again, it's Gist dropping back to pass. Similar setup, goes to Pollard. Deatrick Pollard brought down. 34-yard line goes Pollard. In on the stop, Christopher Durr. Durr, one of a couple players the Mustangs have who is listed as an athlete. Also keeping an eye on Jonas Lee and Tyshawn Griffin when we look at the offensive side of the ball for the Mustangs. 2nd down and 7. Here's Clark staying on his feet after one tackle. In past the 10-yard line goes Eddie Clark.
That's an Eddie Clark run if I've ever seen one. Spins out of the first contact, stays on churning down inside the 10-yard line. Great play, and Morgan Park's going to take a timeout.
Morgan Park taking a timeout. How about that from the Mustangs? Peoria leading this drive, not in the game. Still scoreless here as we work the initial part of the first quarter. No operational scoreboard at Peoria Stadium, but about 8 minutes remaining in this first period of play as Morgan Park takes its first timeout. If you're just joining us, Peoria has embarked on a 71-yard drive to this point, began at their own 20 4 minutes ago. Play started with 2 passes out to Ricky Hearn before Eddie Clark started to get some carries for the Lions. An early fumble scare. He put the ball on the ground but recovered his own fumble at about the 35-yard line and kept it going as the Lions are now 9 yards away from the first score of the contest. Joey Wright and Larry Larson in with you. You see the Lions huddling now. A little bit of oxygen some players are getting.
They need it, Joey. Boy, they run that offense so fast. And if this is indeed the first time you're watching these Lions, number one, it's a fun brand of football, but it's a lot. It moves fast. You blink, and you're going to miss a play.
1st down and goal from the 9, call it the 10. As Gist hands it off to Clark. Clark looking for some space up the middle, brought down at the 5.
Doesn't surprise me that the Lions go to Clark there, considering that he did get them out of that 4th and long situation. A goal-to-go situation, much more manageable.
Here's Gist handing off to Clark again. Clark doesn't have any room there. The Mustangs crash in and bring him down. In on the stop, Williams again, 2nd tackle he's made this drive by our tally. And the Lions will run in some subs. In is Nasha Robertson, as well as Jalen Robinson, who also returns to play. 3rd down, man in motion is Pollard. Handoff Clark. Clark looking for space up the middle, trying to move the pile forward. Is short by a yard, and Larry Peoria will almost certainly go for it on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line.
Oh, it's the easiest play in the book to make, right? 4th and 1. 4th and 1, not the easiest, but you're on the 1-yard line, perhaps 2-yard line, goal to go. You got to punch it up the gut.
Malachi Washington lined up at running back. He's in. Touchdown Lions. Peoria opens the scoring up. An 80-yard touchdown drive capped off by a 2-yard touchdown run from Malachi Washington. The junior gives the Lions their first lead of the playoffs.
Under 10 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Again, the clock not working, and another trademark of the Lions, they always go for 2, no extra points.
Coaches will tell you 50% of your 2-point tries equals 100% of your extra points, but Washington has no room up the middle that time. He stopped a yard short of the goal line. And as we work the early stages of quarter number 1, Peoria 6, Morgan Park scoreless. Larry, even though they didn't cap it off with the icing on the cake, the 2-point conversion, what a drive from the Mustangs, or pardon me, the Lions on the opening drive of the game.
Yeah, great job by the Lions to persevere through a few broken plays, a few busted plays, but all things considered, they did a good job. They stayed focused. And with that fast offense, they're kind of forced to stay focused. Next play, next play, next play mentality. And especially with Eddie Clark, Clark stepping up huge on a few plays.
Especially after the fumble that he nearly lost, Clark did a good job of hauling it back in and getting the offense back on track. Peoria on for its first kickoff of the game. 8:13 left in the first quarter. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. We're about to get our first look at the Morgan Park offense, although Peoria has been known to sneak in a couple of onside attempts throughout the game, so not a given that the Morgan Park Mustangs will get a chance on offense. You see they're lining up with the offensive or the onside kick in mind. Ball on the tee and handling the kicking duties, Ricky Hearn for the Lions. Mustangs lining a couple of guys up there in front of their own bench. There you see Hearn. Where will he go? If he goes back deep, the man deep to return the kick is Tyshawn Griffin. The sophomore athlete can do it all. They line him up at running back, at receiver, at kick returner now. Hearn's going to address it as an onside kick, rolling to the 44, and it's hauled in. That would be the 46, pardon me, as the Mustangs recover. Sean Harris, a captain for this Mustangs team, the right place, the right time.
Well, that thing rolled and rolled and rolled. A great kick by Hearn. Just sent it right into the ground, skipping around. You never know what can happen as soon as that ball takes a few hops. Good job by the hands team for Morgan Park, but they're going to have a lot of those tries tonight.
Mustangs out for their first offensive try of the game. Winner of this first round 5A battle marches on to face the winner of today's battle between Kankakee and Carbondale. That game also going this afternoon. If we get an update on that, we'll pass it along to you as it comes in. 1st and 10 for Morgan Park. The quarterback, Aaron Warren. Griffin in the backfield with him. A man in motion is Sean Harris. Warren drops back. Airs one out to Harris. Harris drops it at the 30-yard line. Sean Harris, the senior, couldn't quite hang on.
I love that play call, Joey. Coming out and having Warren do some of the things that he does best, just absolutely sling it down the sideline. How good of a ball was that? Dropped it right into the breadbasket. Good job by the Peoria secondary to break that one up and get that contact.
Chance of defense reigning in. Larry, as many quarterbacks as we've seen in now 10 weeks of football, Warren throws as good a ball as any of them. He'll hand it off here to Griffin. Griffin, some space up the middle, brings it up past the 45. Ball comes out, but the play whistle dead. He'll be down by contact, about a yard short of the first down marker. And as much as we talk about Aaron Warren, Larry, you and I talked a lot about Tyshawn Griffin beforehand.
Griffin, just a sophomore, listed on the roster as an athlete. Not a wide receiver, not a running back, but an athlete, and I think that's an apt title for him because as only a sophomore, he's already got a few Power 5 offers, getting a lot of looks. Probably the best all-around athlete on this Morgan Park team. I suppose Warren might have something to say about that, though.
They pitch it back to him on 3rd and 1. He marches straight into the pile, and Peoria comes up with a big stop on 3rd and 1. See where they spot it, and they will actually spot it about a yard ahead of the first down marker. They give him forward progress. Peoria thought they'd come up with the stop, but they will move the chains forward. A first down for Morgan Park, and a big one at that.
Again, a good job by Morgan Park to go to their playmakers and put the game in the playmakers' hands early. I think that's a trend that we're going to see throughout the game for both teams. You've got experience. You've got great ball handlers, so to speak. I know that's a basketball term, but in football, it's the quarterback. That's the running back. We're going to see the ball in the hands of Griffin, Warren, Eddie Clark for Peoria a lot today.
First down of the game for Morgan Park. Last time on 1st and 10, they passed. This time Warren will keep it himself. A quarterback draw up the middle. Down at the 20, no, not 20. That would be the 38-yard line.
There you go. A little closer that time.
Got my numbers off. I thought that 3 was a 2 down there on the far side. But a nice quarterback draw from Warren, showing he can do a little bit of everything. Trying to rival Griffin's status as the best all-around athlete on the squad.
Now, Warren, definitely a dual-threat quarterback. There have been weeks where he's thrown as little as 2 times, where he'll just be a running threat on the ground and a facilitator to hand the ball off and create some pitches and things of that nature. So it depends on what type of play-calling style or approach that we'll see today from Coach Chris James in Morgan Park.
Bit of a botched snap there, but Warren did a nice job of hauling it in, got it off to Griffin, and it will be another 3rd down and 1. Last time the Mustangs were in this situation, they just barely picked it up. Lining up as a receiver now is Durr. Motion on the line. Peoria stays onside. See Warren, calling some audibles. Gets the snap. Here's Griffin. Griffin up the middle has enough for the first down to the 30-yard line.
On the first play of the offensive set for Morgan Park, they came out and threw it deep, and I thought, wow, they're going to take a lot of shots, but this offense has been slow and methodical, doing a real good job. 5:35 left on the clock here in the first.
I tell you what, though, Larry, is tight on the line as Peoria's defense likes to play. Peoria's cornerbacks have to be on it because if they lose a step, they'll get burned with Warren in the game. Warren trying to burn the defense himself into the red zone. Has enough for the first down. Warren continues to make plays with his legs.
Great job there. Designed run, had blockers on the outside. And that's the thing with the Lions defense. You mentioned those cornerbacks. They can't lose a step. But because they're pressed up on the wide receivers, those wide receivers can engage in those blocks quicker and hold the blocks for a guy like Warren to make something happen on the outside.
And he made something happen there as the Mustangs enter the red zone for the first time today. Warren awaits the snap, sends a man in motion. That's Kendall Sprouts. And here's Warren taking off. Warren, 15-yard line. He's brought down. Ball popped out, but that was after he was down. Gains about half of what he needed for the first down, maybe a yard more. Second and manageable as Morgan Park starts to move the rock forward.
How about Tyshawn Griffin on that play? He was out in front blocking, trying to get Warren the corner, but he just could not. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Griffin charging out ahead of the quarterback Warren on a number of plays to block today.
It's a big part of what makes a complete running back or a complete football player, the need to block.
Yeah.
It's a team game. You got to open things up for your teammates. Griffin, the sophomore, doing a good job of that early on. Second down and 5. Warren the snap, handoff to Griffin, but a flag down right on the snap and a false start against Morgan Park. We have not seen a lot of penalties thus far as we work the midway stages of quarter number 1, Larry, but what few we have seen have been big, and they have threatened to sink drives.
Of course, and Joey, whenever we talk about big games, one of the keys to the game is limiting the penalties. Well, that becomes paramount in the postseason because every team you play is good. Every team is going to make you pay for mistakes, especially penalties.
As we cross the 4-minute mark in the first quarter, Warren with 3 wide receivers, but it's Griffin again getting the carry, and that Peoria Lion defensive line stepping up. And a big third down coming as Griffin not able to gain much there.
Outside of that first play, Joey, we haven't seen a pass on this drive. I think this is probably a passing situation where you might even go to the end zone, third down and long. Might as well go for all the marbles, maybe take a gamble on the road here in the first quarter.
Warren on the first play of this drive tried to connect with Sean Harris down the field. It fell incomplete. Harris now lined up in the slot as Warren drops back to pass. Pressure comes. He's dropped in the backfield. Lions come up with a big sack. A couple of Lions got into the backfield on there, including Gary Rutherford. But I believe the sack was Nasha Robertson.
Tawan Smith also in there. That rushing attack on the defensive side of things for the Lions is so strong. You line all your 11 players up on the line of scrimmage. The opposition doesn't know whether or not you're going to blitz on any given play because you're showing blitz every single play. So that makes things tricky. Warren had nowhere to go and very little time to make something happen.
Lions converted a 4th and 17 on their first drive that ended in a touchdown. 4th and long coming up for Morgan Park right here. The crowd at Peoria Stadium getting into it. 4 wide receivers. For Warren, drops back. Has some time in the pocket, but has to move forward, has to take it himself. He's going to have enough for the first down, and he's going to have enough for a touchdown. Walks in, no, out of bounds, pardon me, at the 3. That's probably why he got into the end zone untouched, as they will call him in. Touchdown, Morgan Park. How about that?
Wow. What a play that was from Warren. Joey,
he was out of bounds at the 3.
Unclear.
No, he was out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
One official signaled touchdown. but the line judge on the opposite side of the field closest to that sideline marked him out of bounds. So that explains a lot.
He's out of bounds at the 4-yard line, it looks to me like. Certainly looked like he stepped out. We'll see what happens here. Flag comes in, delay a game. And on the flag, Morgan Park will take a timeout, so we'll see if they charge that as a delay of game. I don't know that they will.
So, word from the field, they're calling that a touchdown.
He was in for a touchdown.
This is the 2-point try. So, hard to tell, especially with no operational scoreboard, Joey.
Yeah.
Makes it tough, but Warren getting the job done. That one was definitely reminiscent of Eddie Clark's run on that 4th and long play. Both teams getting the job done. What a play.
We'll call that 2 huge 4th down conversions. This one going for a touchdown. And, yeah, to compare that to Eddie Clark, a apt comparison. 2:23 left first quarter as Morgan Park punches it in. So we work the final stages of this, our first slice of action. Morgan Park will go for 2. That was the early indication as Chris James, the Mustangs head coach, called a timeout on what could have been a delay of game for Morgan Park. They'll come out and attempt the 2-point try. Warren will line up with Griffin, and we'll see if they run it here or elect to pass it. Morgan Park has had a lot of success with the run, as has Peoria. 2-point conversion try, tied at 6, 2:23 left in the first quarter. Here's Warren immediately taking off. Warren looking for the corner. He's got it. The 2-point conversion successful for Morgan Park. They take their first lead of the contest, 8-6, with 2:23 left in the first.
Once again, big players do big things in big games, Joey, and Aaron Warren is rising to the occasion tonight. Getting it done with the legs on that drive. Definitely the key player on that charge back down the field. Mustangs back in front, are in front for the first time today. It's a big-time drive, great response, and that's so key to do. Come back and score after your opponent does when you're on the road.
If you're just joining us, Peoria marching 80 yards on drive number 1. Morgan Park has just punched it in for a touchdown of their own. 2:23 left in the first quarter. Mustangs ahead by 2. Big drive coming here for Peoria as they look to respond. These are 2 high-powered offenses this season that have averaged over 30 points per game. Both of these teams regulars in the IHSA playoffs. Morgan Park for a time, a stalwart of the 7A playoffs. A couple of years in the 6A postseason, now in the 5A class. Seeded 9th against the 8th-seeded Lions. Winner on to a matchup against Kankakee and Carbondale as Ahmad Grayer runs up towards the ball and sends it to Robertson. Robertson nearly bobbled it. Here's Jalen Robertson up past the 25, trying to stay on his feet, finally brought down at the 29, and that's where the Lions offense will start with 71 yards in front of them.
Robinson is an explosive kick returner. We've seen him take kicks all the way back for touchdowns a few times this year. A few times he's taken it all the way to the house, but it's been called back. We saw that in the normal community game. So whenever the ball is in his hands, especially if you're a Lions fan, can't help but get excited.
You've got to like your chances. Lions starting at the 29-yard line. They've got to go 79 yards. Or 71 yards, that would be. Drove 80 yards on drive 1. Ricky Hearn communicating with Tim Thornton as they get a new football down there on the line of scrimmage. Hearn communicating with the bench, as is Deatrick Pollard, both lined up as receivers in front of the Lions bench. Bottom of your screen. First play goes to Clark. Clark spinning, staying on his feet, finally brought down. Gain of 4 yards, and Clark, a tough guy to bring down.
Clark just has such a low center of gravity. That first hit, not enough to bring him down, really kind of digs into the turf. You see some turf flying up when he runs with the football.
Inside of 2 minutes left in the first frame as Clark again gets the carry. will be close, and he will have the first down by about half a yard to the 40-yard line. Lions offense quickly back to the line. Looking for some communication, Landon Newby-Holsom, who lines up as the wing back in front of Clark. Clark trying for the 45, down at the 44. And it seems like, Larry, the last couple of plays, it's taken a couple of Mustangs to bring Clark down.
It definitely has, and that's going to be a trend that continues the whole game. You got to get multiple uniforms on them. And even if you are the first guy there, open field tackle, you got to wrap up.
One-on-one coverage for Ricky Hearn against Kawan Davis. Davis got a hand on it as Hearn came across the middle of the field trying to make a play. You've got to credit Kewan Davis with a great defensive effort there. Senior for the Mustangs, nearly came up with an interception.
Davis doing such a good job. He's had 2 opportunities in pass coverage today. He's making the most of them. Such a talented cornerback for the Mustangs.
He again lines up against Hearn, but this will go to Clark. Clark nearing midfield, the first down marker. Stopped about a yard short, and this is going to be a decision for Tim Thornton on 4th down. He's going to go for it and going to try to get that yard. In the backfield, Clark wrapped up and brought down immediately. The Morgan Park defensive line crashing in there. Larry, I got to tell you, up here in the booth, I looked over to you, looked back down at the field, and Clark is on the ground. That's probably the biggest defensive play we've seen today.
Holy cow.
Oh, my goodness.
What a hit. McKinley Doonigan was the first one there and the only one that needed to get there, just as we were talking about how it takes multiple guys to bring down Clark. Blink, Doonigan's got him wrapped up and on the ground. Not just any tackle, but a huge hit. Probably the biggest hit we'll see all day. That's just a play that makes you say, wow.
Quite literally, blink and you miss it. I turned my head for a split second, look back down to the field, and wham! And Morgan Park will have a short field, 45 yards to drive on drive number 2 for the Mustangs. And that's the kind of defensive play. You get the energy going after that one.
Absolutely. That's what you'd expect. After coming off a touchdown, you've got the momentum, and now you've really got the momentum. Great opportunity for Morgan Park to take control of this football game.
On the first drive of the first play of the Mustangs' last drive, they went for the pass. This time they go for the run, and Griffin hit hard as he tries to march past the line of scrimmage. Landon Newby-Holsom in on the stop that time. So for Peoria now, Larry, it's a little bit of anything you can do, I can do better, or at least try to.
Yeah, definitely. Both efforts being matched on both sides of the football. Both teams were juiced up. We saw that in the pregame. They were fired up for a playoff game, as you would expect. And they've continued to keep that energy throughout the first quarter.
Inside of the last minute of the first quarter, here's a terrific grab on the sideline. Credit Kendall Sprouts for getting up and grabbing that one. A flag down at the 17. Pending the penalty, Sprouts has just made a terrific offensive play.
A circus catch from Sprouts. I think that's going to be pass interference against the Lions. How about Sprouts battling through the contact, through the flag, tips that ball up, comes down with it, just finding a way to make the play.
And that will be a defensive penalty against the Lions, presumably pass interference. And that penalty will be declined as it's not a spot foul in the high school or college game. That would be a 15-yard penalty. Morgan Park having gained more than 15 on Sprouts' nice catch. They'll decline that and roll with a first down for the 19. Nearing the completion of the first quarter. Glad you're with us. That's one-on-one coverage again. Ricky Hearn trying to guard Sprouts on that far side. See if they go back to him. Here's Warren. Warren's going to go to Griffin. Griffin, the carry up the middle of the field, slips past the Lions defense. He's in. And Morgan Park will go ahead by another touchdown. It'll be 14-6 pending the two-point conversion. I think we can say with certainty that he got in that time.
Without a doubt, nowhere near to the sideline. Griffin didn't need to use the sideline. His offensive line opened up a huge hole for him, and he ran all the way home. Great play by Griffin. Just that explosiveness I was reading a Sun-Times article about the Morgan Park Mustangs, one of their games this season, and it was Warren that was quoted, and he said, if you give Griffin a little bit of space, it's over. Look out, and we saw it there.
Morgan Park on to attempt the 2-point try. Could go ahead by 2 scores with a successful conversion here. Here's Warren. Warren airing one out. Corner of the end zone and caught. Down there is Harris, and Sean Harris, one of Warren's favorite targets, gives the Mustangs a 10-point lead, 16-6. The end of the first quarter coming up shortly. We're inside of the last minute.
Working on getting the time.
As a terrific game begins in Peoria. Again, a 5A playoff heavyweight battle. 9 seed versus 8 seed. Winner on to play either top-seeded Kankakee or the 16th seeded Carbondale squad. Those teams in action later today.
Joey, that was the final play of the first quarter, so now this kickoff will be the first play of the second quarter.
So we switch sides and get ready to roll. The sun peeking out as the second quarter gets set to start. And as we start the second quarter, much like we started the game, it's Peoria back deep to return the kickoff. Eddie Clark and Jalen Robinson back deep to return.
This next drive for the Lions, Joey, is going to be so key. You need to come out and respond on your home turf. Morgan Park has all the control in this ball game right now. Need to make something happen, even if it's just a good drive that maybe stalls out in the red zone. Of course, that's less than ideal for the Lions, but you need some sort of spark.
Line drive kick from Grayer won't go to Clark or Robinson. Instead, it's fielded up top by Gary Rutherford. Rutherford gets it past the 40. Good return from Rutherford, making a play when he wasn't quite ready to, and I suppose that might even not be quite fair to say because he certainly looked ready as he got it past the 40 down to the 41-yard line.
He was ready. He turned on the Jets. He saw that speed, turned it upfield, taking a few hits, wasn't afraid of the contact there. Good return.
Lions will need to go 59 yards. We're just a couple of seconds into the second quarter. Lions trailing by 10. Here's Eddie Clark trying to change that. Clark forced out of bounds. Last 2 carries for Clark have gone for nothing as the Mustangs force him out of bounds. We'll see where they give him forward progress to. They'll mark him down at the 40-yard line, so they'll mark him down for a loss of 1. And Clark was trying to go east-west. Larry, open up anything, but Morgan Park forced him to the sideline.
Dante Hayes Jr., great job to push him out of bounds.
Here's Clark again, running towards his own bench. Clark past the 45, knocked out at the 48.
You see a great look. It's getting chippy, Joey. Not a lot of physical altercations, but a lot of verbal ones. That's what you'd expect. Both these teams very confident. They had great regular seasons. And that's what happens when the emotions run high.
Doesn't matter who's playing, what 2 teams are going at it. A lot of times when you see emotions run high, it's those plays that run towards the benches. Out of bounds, one guy gets knocked down and takes umbrage to it. Clark gets up and runs for a first down next play. So that's a first down for Peoria. They move the chains for the first time this drive. Early stages, second quarter. Third drive for the Lions. First one ended in a touchdown here. Here's Clark. Clark bowling past Keith Williams. Williams has been in on a lot of plays. That time he's forced down, and Clark gets a couple of more yards because of it. 2nd and 6 coming up.
Clark has been a workhorse on this drive. I'm maybe looking for the play to go somewhere else. Maybe not this play, but maybe the next one.
Oh, and Clark with a good carry that time on 2nd down. No need to go anywhere else there except forward for Clark. A yard short of the first down marker, 3rd and 1. Maybe, though, you go with a new look here to catch the Mustangs off guard on 3rd down.
Or not.
Back to Clark. Clark spun down. See where they spot him. He's marked down at the 37-yard line. Line to gain is the 37. He's going to be short by about a half a yard. He is as close as you can get to having that first down. It'll be 4th and inches The Mustangs were successful in this same situation one drive ago. And Gist is going to draw him off sides. Gist the hard count, force some motion. Morgan Park moving backwards. It's a first down, encroachment.
That's a great way to give your offensive line and Eddie Clark a break. Go with the hard count. Now you've got a few moments to take your breath. The Lions will do just that. They move the sticks. Good job on the hard count by Gist. We'll see that a lot from him today.
10:20 left, second quarter. Here's Gist getting the snap, handoff Clark, but the play whistle dead as soon as the snap came in, and that'll be a false start against Peoria. So, Larry, you could say Peoria gives back what they earned. That's true from a yardage standpoint, but they do get the first down on the encroachment penalty. So 1st and 15 is a little better than 4th and 6.
Absolutely. You'll take that 10 times out of 10.
Landon Newby-Holsom in motion. The wingback, if you will, for Peoria right now. Gist gets the snap, drops back to pass, fires one over the middle and caught by Hearn. Hearn up past the 10. 1st and goal for the Lions. Pitch, catch, Ricky Hearn.
An impressive catch from Ricky Hearn because his sight of the ball was interfered with by his own teammate. Deatrick Pollard leapt for that ball. He thought it was directed his way, but Hearn was right behind him to haul it in.
2 Lions go up for it. 1 comes down with it. Drive stays alive. Here's Clark running towards the goal line. He's close. Lions say touchdown. Officials say 1 yard short. Eddie Clark about an 8-yard carry that time, and the Lions on the doorstep.
It's got to be Clark here again.
Goes to Clark. Clark brought down close to the goal line. He's in. Eddie Clark, touchdown Lions. Morgan Park almost got there in time, but Eddie Clark had enough for the Lions touchdown. And with 9:23 left in the second quarter, it's now 16-12. 2-point conversion coming. Lions could cut it to 2.
Eddie Clark was kind of the football equivalent of the hot hand, if you will, on that drive.
Gist rolling out, looking for the end zone. He's got the 2-point conversion to Pollard. Deatrick Pollard hauls it in. Make it 16-14 with 9:23 left in the second quarter. Go ahead, Larry.
Well, Clark was the equivalent of a football hot hand there. Again, that's basketball phrasing. Feed the shooter, feed the hot hand. But Clark just had that forward momentum, that forward progress on every single play, outside of the one where he lost 1 yard when he got bumped out of bounds on one of the first few plays of that drive. Clark did a great job just keeping his nose to the grindstone, going north-south rather than east-west, and it worked out. Offensive line for the Lions doing a great job to keep things moving forward.
That drive for the Lions taking 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They drive 59 yards for the score, capped off by a 1-yard run from Eddie Clark. 9:23 left, second quarter. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com this afternoon. Saturday afternoon football for you. Joey Wright and Larry Larson on the call. In the next booth over, our production team, Francisco Alonso on our camera, Jonathan Michael behind our computer. Down on the field, Josh Schwam and Jacob Steinberg. Pictures and video from those guys. And Gavin Russell, maybe the most important member of our team today, keeping us updated on the time.
Yes, he's downstairs with the radio. That's where we're getting the time.
Onside kick for the Lions. It will be recovered by Morgan Park. Watch out. The Mustangs had a little bit of space. Sean Harris couldn't quite get past the second level. And he'll go down at the 40-yard line. But Harris nearly had a spark for the Mustangs.
Joey, I wasn't watching Harris pick up the football because I saw one of the Lions blockers just light up a Morgan Park blocker. I didn't catch names, but a helmet flew off. I had my eyes on that. These two teams not leaving anything on the sideline. They're leaving it all out on the field, bringing the juice on every single play.
40 yards to drive for the Mustangs as they set up shop for drive number 3. First 2 drives have ended in touchdowns. 9 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second quarter. It's going to be a high-scoring one at Peoria Stadium tonight. Warren handing it off to Griffin. Griffin trying to go up the middle. Lions defensive line does a decent job there, but still going to be a 5-yard rush for Griffin.
Every time Griffin has touched the ball today, he's picked up at least 2 or 3 yards, and while that's not anything monumental, as long as you keep the forward progress rolling, you pick up a few of those yards, all you need is 2 or 3 of those runs, and it's a first down on every set.
Keeping an eye on a couple of those guys in the interior of the line for Peoria. Cedric Beckham in there, as is Isaac Williams. 2nd down and 5. Warren drops back to pass. Pressure coming. He's got to dance around in the pocket, and he's going to be brought down for a sack. In on the sack that time is Patrick Jordan.
2nd sack of the game of Aaron Warren. He did a great job trying to extend that play, trying to make something happen, but he could not swim out of pressure.
From 2nd and 5 back to 3rd down and 13. Jordan, Patrick Jordan the third, a sophomore for the Lions, stepping up and making a play. Larry, you've got to figure pass on 3rd and 13.
Well, I don't know. I think if I had to predict, I think a quarterback draw for Warren.
We'll see how it plays out. Probably 4-down territory. Warren dropping back to pass. Warren looking, and he doesn't have Harris. Harris had a step that time on Eli McFadden, but they couldn't connect, and now it's 4th and 12.
Well, definitely a passing situation there, but we've seen these 4th and long situations end with Warren on the run and running for the first down. That was his rushing touchdown earlier, 4th and long. So keep an eye on that here.
Warren can create in the pocket. We've seen that. We've also seen big 4th down conversions. Warren on 4th and long earlier, rushing for a touchdown. Trying to draw that defensive line off sides. He does just that, Larry. As we look out of the window, we are pretty much right down the line, and there were 4 or 5 Lions that jumped on the hard count.
Well, you can't help but get a little jittery and a little excited, but that's false start.
Wow. There was a lot more, and they do call that a false start against Morgan Park. Looked like a lot more motion on the defense to me.
Well, of course, as soon as one player moves on the offensive line, everybody moves on the defense. You're looking for that movement. The movement was on Morgan Park's side first, and now they're going to punt.
First punt we've seen tonight. Back out onto the field to punt Ahmad Grayer, who warmed up with a couple of field goals for the Mustangs before this one. Mustangs have not completed a drive in field goal range. We'll see if we see him as the day moves along. Also handles the kicking duties for the Mustangs. Grayer going up to the offensive line, making sure everyone's on the same page. Lions not sending anyone back deep to return. They're going to try and block it. Everyone's stacked. Low snap for Grayer. Grayer having trouble getting that one off. When he does, it's a high kick that will just barely clear the 40. Takes a bounce down at the 33.
An interesting punt. Grayer got way underneath it, and you could tell he was definitely a little anxious as the rush came. Low snap. At the very least on that play, you just want to get that punt off. Good job by Grayer to do so.
I was going to say he knew the cavalry was coming and did a nice job of getting enough arc on that to avoid the block. Doesn't net a ton of yards for the Mustangs, but far better than the alternative for Morgan Park, which could have resulted in a blocked punt and a Lions touchdown. 7:29 left in the second quarter. Gavin Russell on the assist as Peoria comes out to start this drive from its own 36-yard line, 37-yard line as Gist comes out, shows pass to Pollard. Pollard working the sideline, knocked out of bounds past midfield. And you can see the emotion on the Peoria bench and those in the game for the Lions as they move the chains with one play from the 37 to the 49-yard line. Here's Gist. Gist composed in the pocket, has a wide open Robinson down the field. Touchdown Lions. Jalen Robinson goes 49 yards to the house.
Joey, masterful play calling there. You call a screen on the first play. Deatrick Pollard makes something happen. You see the Lions come out for another pass. Morgan Park sold out on the screen. All of a sudden, Robinson wide open down the field, and a beautiful ball delivered by Gist.
Peoria now has the lead. 2016 going for two. Gist drops back corner of the end zone, caught for a 2-point conversion. A flag down at the goal line.
That was a very late flag, Joey. If this is pass interference, I don't know why they would call that. That was at least it is indeed pass interference. That's a tough call because Pollard was wide open. He made the catch, and then they threw the flag. So, not sure what that's all about.
And that will march the Lions back, and this won't alter the decision on the part of the Lions. They're going to go for two again, but they're going to be marched way back. 15-yard pass interference penalty. Running a 2-point conversion from the 18-yard line. Gist, again, drops back, has to run out of the pocket, throws to the goal line, incomplete. 2 flags come in, and that's going to be defensive pass interference, more than likely, against Christopher Durr.
Well, third time's the charm, I suppose. Shows you just the effort on both sides. So hard, playing very physical football. Not really surprising in a playoff game, but no less. I don't remember the last time I've seen 3 2-point conversion attempts on the same touchdown.
See if the third time's the charm for the Lions as they get a couple of yards back here to the 10-yard line. Pending the 2-point conversion, which we'll try for the third time here, as you see at the bottom of your screen, Peoria leading by 4. Here's Gist looking on a slant route. That pass deflected at the defensive line. Rolls back several yards, incomplete. And after the dust settles, call it 20-16 for Peoria over Morgan Park. Back in the lead, but not by a whole lot. And Larry, with how well these offenses have run today, you've got to think the Mustangs have a good chance to recapture the flag on their next drive.
7:24 remaining. Sorry, I had to pause to try and figure out what time was on the clock there. But Morgan Park, again, with a great opportunity. And Joey, especially with a game with these two offenses, you can't let a touchdown get you down. There's going to be so many scores. And I'm sure that touchdown isn't going to discourage Morgan Park. They're going to keep their heads up. They're ready to go on the offensive side of things. And the same can be said for Peoria on the defensive side. This is going to be an entertaining football game. If you like defense, you might as well shut it off. And that's not to take anything away from both teams' defenses, but it just, their offenses are so dominant, and they keep the pace of game up. They run the no huddle. They're going to hurry up to the offensive line and keep the defense off balance.
Well, how about offense? You see a lot of offense in the playoffs. You've got to score points in this part of the season to win games. How about last night, Springfield and Rock Island? I want to make sure I have this right. I don't have it written down in front of me, but what was the final score, 94-72?
Something like that. Unreal.
Peoria trying an onside kick. Morgan Park right there. Kendall Sprouts recovers it. I know it was something to 72. Springfield got the job done. I don't know how that game played out. I don't know if you could say they just barely got the job done or if it played maybe with a little more wiggle room there, insurance for the Senators, if you will, because they put up 90-plus points. I don't know if you can say they barely won. They outscored the Rocks by...
Yeah, the final score was 94-72. I don't think we'll see anything like that today, knock on wood, because I don't even know if I'd want to watch a game like that.
I think I'd like to see one once. I think you run out of paper when you're keeping stats at that point. I suppose most people keep stats on computers nowadays, but
all I'm doing for this game is keeping track of who's scoring when. And even then, you'd run out of paper.
I think easily if that was the case. Here's a pitch back to Griffin. Griffin looking for space at midfield, has a couple of yards, gain of 3, up past midfield to the 48. Peoria, though, no stranger to scoring points, Larry. When we look at their schedule, they're averaging just over 35 points per game, 62 points in Week 1 in a win at Richwoods, 58 points Week 3, a win at Danville. 60 points on October 8th in a win against Central in Week 7. That average hampered by 2 forfeit wins against Manual on September 17th and against Urbana on October 15th. You take those out, add their total number of points, divide it by 7 instead of 9, that average goes up a lot.
Definitely, and that's just math. But if you're the Lions, you look at their schedule. Flag comes in here, something to watch. You look at their schedule and you think, oh, 2 forfeit wins, they're a 7-win team, but are they really? This team is a 7-win team caliber. Just because they took those 2 forfeit wins doesn't mean that they're not deserving of a top 10 seed here in 5A, because some of the teams they've played, I mean, Wheaton St. Francis on the road, tough loss for them. They definitely learned from that. Big win on the road at Danville. Very, very close loss to Normal Community. So the 2 losses that Peoria has are against 2 playoff teams.
For Morgan Park, 3 losses on the season: Taft, Kenwood, and Fenwick. Fenwick, a playoff team they lost to in the first week of the season. They did score 57 points against Curie on the 17th of September, a 57-0 win in Week 4.
Well, all 3 of the Mustangs' losses are against playoff teams.
From the 31-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Warren drops back to pass over the middle and just over the outstretched hands of Harris. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Game of inches, Joey, and that ball maybe just a little bit lower. Harris could have hauled it in, but just out of the reach. Another good ball delivered by Warren. You'd rather throw that too high than too low, because then you run the risk of getting picked off.
Throw it too low, anyone can get to it. Throw it high, better that no one gets to it. 6:11 left in the second quarter. 2nd down and 10, 31-yard line. 5 wide receivers for Warren. We'll see if he flashes the arm as we near the midway point of the second quarter into the first half, drawing near. Warren, you can hear the clap from up here. Look at him shake off one guy, but 2 guys come in to bring him down. The Lions, we won't call that a sack because it looked like a design run, but in on that one. Rutherford was in there, as was Jakeem Hahn.
Rutherford having a big game on the defensive line for the Lions. One of those guys that you kind of lean on. Just a sophomore, Gary Rutherford, stepping up huge. The sophomores for the Lions have had a big game.
Called Rutherford's name quite a bit this evening, or this afternoon. Used to the night games, a day game at Peoria Stadium. Sun shining down as the Mustangs try to go for a 3rd and 12. Griffin in the backfield, but it's Warren looking for space, tries to create. It takes 4 Lions to bring him down at the 30. A lot of motion on that play, doesn't gain a whole lot. 4th down and call it 7 coming up for the Mustangs.
Well, Warren a little slow to get up. He was hit hard. That first contact he bounced right off of, as we so often see with so many good runners. But then the Lions clobbered him on that second tackle. I think it was Patrick Jordan III that brought him down on that final tackle.
4th down and 7, one-on-one coverage, bottom of your screen. Deatrick Pollard and Kendall Sprouts will go at it, and now Peoria brings the secondary back a bit. Here's Warren. Screen play, pressure comes. It's Griffin losing his footing and down a yard shy of the 25.
That is such a tough break for the Mustangs, because you got the Lions secondary to back up. That screen play, you pull the lineman, Warren gets the ball off. Griffin, if he keeps his balance, has the 1st down at least, and then some, maybe even a chance at a touchdown. He had 1 man to beat, and he got beat probably by the Peoria Stadium turf more than anything.
We've seen a couple of players lose their footing on that grass, which was hampered by rain yesterday and on Thursday. It rained constantly here in Peoria. It's had a little bit of time to dry out, but that can really take a number on the root system on any grass field. And players have been slipping a little bit. Eddie Clark for Peoria, and that time Griffin for Morgan Park. New drive for the Lions. 1st and 10, 26-yard line, and brought down is Clark on play 1.
Now the Lions have a great opportunity to seize control. They're already ahead by 1 score, but they're going to receive, or rather they're going to have to kick to start the second half. So you'd love to have a score here really seal the deal to have at least a 2-score lead after the first drive of the second half.
Past the halfway point in quarter number 2. Here's a pass down the middle of the field for Hearn, intercepted. And here goes Morgan Park. On the interception is Durr. Durr past the 25, knocked out of bounds. Christopher Durr stepping up and making a tremendous play. Remember on the 2-point conversion a few minutes ago, he was called for pass interference. Now he steps up, a huge interception, and the Mustangs with a short field as the drive essentially restarts.
Wow, what a catch that was from Durr, catching that thing at the highest point possible, picking it off. Tino Guess with a big mistake there. We've seen the sophomore make some mistakes. He's had some growing pains throughout the season. That mistake could be costly. 3:57 to go here in the first half.
And a 1st and 10, new set of downs for the Mustangs. 3 wide receivers, Griffin lining up with Warren. Griffin getting the carry up the middle. Griffin to the 5, brought down, 1st and goal Mustangs.
That acceleration from Griffin is so impressive. Goes from that position and back of the quarterback and then turns on the Jets almost full speed in a few seconds. Nearly carried a guy with him to the goal line.
Mustangs quickly to the line of scrimmage, but Tim Thornton and the Peoria Lions want a timeout as we work about 3.5 minutes left in quarter number 2. 3:51 on the timeout. Gavin Russell calls that up from the field. Again, as we've mentioned throughout the show, no scoreboard at Peoria Stadium operational today. It's been a problem that has persisted here in the latter portion of the season. Lions also played their Week 9 win against Peoria Notre Dame with no scoreboard. Clock being run down on the field. It is a physical clock that the players can see, but it is out of our view. It's actually underneath us. We're in the press box. There's an overhang that partitions us from seeing the fans and covers the fans from weather, and under all that, the
Joey,
fans and the
one of these
scoreboard.
times on our broadcast from Peoria Stadium, we got to get a view from our walk up to the press box because for those who are scared of heights, it's a bit treacherous. You got to walk a catwalk type of deal, and you look down, you see the bleachers and the entirety of the grandstand underneath you. It's a very unique setup. I imagine it's something like the walk up to the old clubhouse at Wrigley Field, the visitors' clubhouse. That would be, you gotta climb upstairs, wind your way through a number of staircases. It's unique, and it's a little bit of fun.
The venerable Peoria Stadium. Quick word to Brian Dunphy and the entire staff at Peoria High School for having us out here. Not only today, but every time we come out here. Always love being here. Here's Warren, quarterback draw. He's in easily. Warren gets in. Aaron Warren on 1st and goal. The sea parted in front of him, and Morgan Park back into the lead. About 3.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Gavin just gave us an update, but that play started with 3:51. Didn't take much time at all. 3:47 shows on the scoreboard, or the mock scoreboard, we should say, and the Mustangs will go for 2. (22-20). Morgan Park could go back ahead by 4 and whistle dead before the play begins. Morgan Park, a false start.
That won't help their cause, but either way, Joey, them going back out in front. Huge momentum swing before the half. The Lions will get the football back. That's going to be a huge drive. Definitely their biggest drive of the game coming up to try and snatch that momentum back and try and get a score on the board before the halftime break.
So from the 8-yard line, Morgan Park will try and punch it in for 2. Aaron Warren lining up with Tyshawn Griffin. 3 wideouts and a tight end. Here's Warren. Warren looking over the middle to Harris. Sean Harris has the 2-point conversion. 24-20. Both of these teams trading blows. The lead changing hands into the first half coming up shortly, and Peoria is going to have one more chance before they kick off to start the third to retake the lead.
Coming into this game, Joey, You knew that Aaron Warren was going to be fun to watch. I was really excited to watch him play, and I have not been disappointed getting it done with the arm, getting it done with the legs. One of the best quarterbacks we've seen all season, if not the best quarterback that we've seen all season, because he is up there really driving this Morgan Park team to a lead on the road in a tough environment at the stadium.
He's very composed in the pocket, throws a tight spiral. And I know he wasn't going against a defense when I watched him during the pregame warm-ups, but man, he threw a good ball. He's targeting the likes of Sprouts, Paul Branson, who we've not called for his efforts in the game, but he got some receptions in the pregame. Kewan Davis, Justin Bisbee also targets when they warmed up, so we'll see if we call those names as we move along. But Warren, just such an accurate, composed passer. As the Mustangs kick off, squib kick here. That's going to slow down on that still wet turf. At the 36-yard line is where the Lions recover. That's where they'll start what could be their final drive of the half. 3:45 left in quarter number 2, but with how quickly the Lions move, you never know.
Yeah, definitely. It does not take much time at all for them to rush down the field and put some points on the board. They could use one of those quick drives, maybe an explosive play. I'd look for maybe another one of those screen passes, maybe to Eddie Clark, maybe to Deatrick Pollard, or maybe even Ricky Hearn, because the Lions have had success with those so far today.
Last play the Lions ran was a 49-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Robinson. This play goes nowhere for Eddie Clark. Look at the Mustangs celebrate there. Jonas Lee in on that one. Also into the backfield was Keyshawn Goodman. Forward progress gave Clark a gain of 1. And Gist forcing some motion on that defensive line. This is going to be encroachment against the Mustangs. And Larry, how much motion have we seen on this offensive line today, and the defensive line as well? Both teams with the hard counts have had some success.
Yeah, a lot of false starts, a lot of offsides on both sides of things. And I like that for both teams, trying those hard counts, because especially in playoff games, you're going to get some teams to jump.
This goes to Clark. Clark past the 40. Clark with a little bit of green in front of him, but coming in to cut off that green grass, McKinley Dunnigan.
Huge run for Clark there, had some open space on the outside. In my opinion, he's most explosive on the outside. Once he kind of gets on those counter plays and has some room to work alongside the sideline, he is very dangerous.
Moves the chains, first down and 10. Peoria into Morgan Park territory. Clark going again. A spin move keeps him on his feet. Brought down.
Let me tell you, Joey, it's like watching Eddie Clark being controlled by a Madden controller. Quick, tap B for the spin move. Hold the white button for the stiff arm. Oh, man. He's like a video game player out there, making this game look easy sometimes.
Hold the white button, going back to the original Xbox.
Yeah, that's where I played my Madden. Madden 07, my favorite.
I started on Madden 06 as Clark goes again up the middle. Jonas Lee was in on the stop on the last play. This time the Lions go right up to the middle, and Omari Knight, a captain on this Mustangs roster. Senior defensive lineman steps up and makes the big stop there, but it does go for a first down. 2:30 left, end of the first half nearing, and a timeout will be taken by Morgan Park.
I like that timeout for the Mustangs. Clock down to 2:23, just try and catch your breath. Would not be surprised if the Lions maybe just try to chew up this clock, keep it on the ground. I'd be surprised to see any passes the rest of the half or the rest of this drive for the Lions. Running the 2-minute drill is no problem for them, because they run the 2-minute drill on every single drive. So they're experts at using the clock to their advantage in terms of a hurry-up, no-huddle offense. So this is where they thrive. They've got plenty of time, short field to work with before this first down out of this timeout.
Peoria did kick off, they returned to the opening kickoff to start the game, so they will kick off when the third quarter begins. 2:23 left in the first half.
Kenny! Go tell Ricky to go to the left side!
As you hear, we're right next, Larry, to the Peoria coaching staff. I'm not sure if our mics picked that up. They probably did.
Probably.
You can hear that Lions coaching staff trying to call out some adjustments down to the bench, down to the field. That was targeted to Ricky Hearn, it sounded like.
We can only assume.
Ricky lined up as one of the two receivers on the far side, as well as Deatrick Pollard. And on the near side, the receiver, Nasha Robertson, Clark. Brought down low, in on the stop, the kicker, Ahmad Grayer, who's also listed as a defensive back, showing that he can do both things well.
Well, if he heard that, Joey, he'd say, what, I'm a kicker? Since when? He's a defensive back who also does some kicking. Huge hit there.
Low man always wins. You see that there. Grayer getting in and on the stop. Pollard right now has a little bit of space. He's going to try to go across the middle of the field, but it goes to Hearn. Incomplete. Bounces off the shoulder pads of Hearn. And Larry, as I watched that, Deatrick Pollard lined up open. If that had been a quick strike, maybe he could have had something, not a touchdown, but some yards.
Yeah, definitely something that you want to look for if you're the quarterback gets there. But good throw over the middle, good ball. A lot of contact between Hearn and Dante Hayes Jr. on the coverage. I like the officials not throwing the flag there, but it could have gone either way.
Both guys got there at seemingly the same time along the goal line. Sets up a 3rd down and 9 for the Lions. Dropping back Gist, screen out to Clark. Clark trying to watch it develop in front of him. He's going to make it happen himself. Eddie Clark in for the Lions touchdown.
Steady diet of touchdowns for Eddie Clark all season long. 3rd down and long. What do? You get the ball to your number 1 playmaker, and that man is Eddie Clark. Again, big players do big things in big games. Couldn't be easier for Eddie Clark on that screen pass touchdown.
Under 2 minutes to play in the half. Lions trying to go back ahead by 4 here. See what they do on the 2-point try. Last time the Lions tried to go for 2. It got a little messy with flags on both sides of the ball. Here's Gist airing one out to the corner and incomplete. It was intended for Ricky Hearn, but Hayes gets up and makes a nice play, the defensive back for the Mustangs. 26-24 our new score. Again, working it under 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Joey Wright and Larry Larson up top in the booth with you for Clutch Sports Media. In the production booth, John Michael and Francisco Alonso. Down on the field, Gavin Russell, Jacob Steinberg, Josh Schwam. Larry, you have a time update from Gavin.
Yeah, 1:45 to go, so plenty of time for a Morgan Park offense that also moves very fast, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they only have 1 timeout left, if not any. So I do think they can get the job done. We'll see how well they can run the 2-minute drill.
1 o'clock kickoff today at Peoria Stadium. This first half approaching an hour and 10 minutes. Larry, I've been thinking about this all game. I don't know if this game feels like it's going by slower or quicker with having no clock to look at. It's been a pretty average first half in terms of time. The scoring maybe slowing it down a tick, but it's a different way to watch football.
It is. I've been entertained, to say the least.
I've been entertained watching Morgan Park's hands team on these offensive, or I keep calling them offensive kicks, onside kicks for the Lions. The Mustangs have had the hands right where they need to be. Jonas Lee recovers that onside kick attempt. Lions have not gotten lucky there yet, but they'll keep trying. We know that much.
Absolutely. Both teams, great effort so far. I mean, with these playoffs, of course, win or go home. None of these teams leaving anything to spare. Talented squads, well-coached squads, teams that want to make a deep run in the playoffs. And both these teams, I think, based on what we've seen in the first half, have the talent to upset some of the top seeds here in 5A, especially considering that Peoria playing in 5A for the first time in a few years, and the same can be said for Morgan Park.
Winner of this game draws the winner of Kankakee and Carbondale next week. We'll get a score update from that game at the halftime break. Kankakee, the #1 seed overall in the 5A class. Carbondale, number 16 overall.
Kankakee and Carbondale kick off at 3 o'clock. So it'll be a little bit before we get some scores from that one.
That game may hit halftime as we go off the air, depending on how it plays out. 3 o'clock kickoff. It's a beautiful facility over in Kankakee. We've been out there before. I believe between the last time we were out there and now, they have looked to make some further additions. I think I heard talk of a new press box over there. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't when we were out there.
I remember when we were there, they told us they were getting a new press box. I liked their press box.
I did
It was
too.
unique. It was carpeted, if I remember
It was
correctly.
big. It was expansive.
Yes.
I mean, there was a lot of room to work with up there. Had a couple different rooms.
Yeah. Kankakee, power in the state of Illinois. I think they're definitely going to make a challenge for that trophy in DeKalb.
If they can get past Carbondale this week, a tough matchup with the winner of this one today. Time and date for next week will be determined once we know the winners. As Griffin takes the carry up the middle, first play of the drive. Ball came out late. Griffin whistled down before the ball came out. Good coaching, though, on the part of both sides to play through the whistle and try to recover the fumble, just because you never know what's going to happen. You're kind of not listening for that whistle.
The Lions are always going to be looking for the football, Joey. That's something that we see with their defense. Their mantra, their slogan is FHF, fast, hard, finish. Hard really kind of applies to defense. Hit hard, go hard for the football.
2nd down and 9. Lions looking to close out this half with a fast, hard finish. Mustangs looking to do the same. Warren airing one out, incomplete. A flag comes in. That was number 2 guarding number 2. Jacob Wright for Peoria guarding Sean Harris for Morgan Park. And that will be a penalty against Jacob Wright. 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in the
53 seconds.
53. I thought that was a 2 you were holding up. It's 53. And a big difference.
I don't know where you got a 2
left.
from.
I don't know. Thought I saw. It's
Considering the last touchdown was scored with a minute 45 to go, I don't think that we added any
they
time to
added
the
some clock. They wanted to give Morgan Park as much time as they could. Not a dig at the officials. It's been a well-called game. That penalty, though, going against Peoria. They got to make that clear. Here's Warren with 53 seconds left in the half. Look at that Lions defensive line coming in and sacking Warren. In on the sack, E.J. Wells.
E.J. Wells with the explosive speed. I think it was Jakeem Hahn that got there, able to wrap up Warren. What a tackle.
Hahn got into the backfield, and indeed, Hahn got the sack. There were a couple of Lions, not including E.J. Wells, who was not in the game there. Here is Hahn again. A late block picks him up. Warren has no space at the 40. He's trying to create. He's spun around and brought down where he started.
Helmet flies off. Got to be careful there. Good job by the officials to get the players off of Warren. Warren is shook up.
Warren taking a minute to get up. The helmet came off on the hit. And we will have an officials timeout as they tend to Warren. Warren now on his feet. Looks like he probably just needed a minute to collect himself. He's going to march back over to the Morgan Park bench on his own power. You see the helmet still off. Chris James is out for a quick word with Warren. And Larry, we have a time update from Gavin Russell.
1 second left.
That was a quick 53 seconds. Oh, my word.
Well, before that play started, it was 30 seconds, and Warren, heads up play by him, knowing that there's very little time left in the half. He wanted to make something happen. He knew that maybe getting out of bounds wasn't going to do him much good, so he tried to reverse the sideline. He's done that a few times this season where he runs towards one sideline, then reverses the field and ends up scoring. So 3rd and very long here. Lions are going to probably go back into the prevent defense or something of that nature if they even have it in the playbook.
They're sending Ricky Hearn back way deep. He's at the 22-yard line. Because Warren's helmet came off, Jonas Lee entered the game at quarterback, but they run the clock.
And that's it.
Yep, because that injury occurred in the last 10 seconds. That is the half. 26-24, Peoria as we close out half number one. Larry, what a half of football that was.
Eddie Clark doing such a good job for the Lions, and coaching staff doing a fantastic job with the play calling, a back-and-forth battle. But both these teams, they've been there before. They've been in the postseason, so they know what to expect. But also, I got to hand it to the young players in this game. You've got Tyshawn Griffin for Morgan Park. He's a sophomore. He doesn't know what the playoffs are like. We've called Gary Rutherford's name a lot on the defensive side of things for the Lions. He's never played in the playoffs before either. So the young guns doing a great job in this contest.
The sophomores have stepped up. We will step aside for most of the halftime break as we reset, take a quick break for the third and fourth quarter. You're watching Clutch Sports Media's live coverage of a 5A playoff battle. Morgan Park and Peoria going at it. Peoria with the upper hand, 26-24 at the half. We'll take a quick break and come back for the second half on ClutchSportsIL.com.
We are
It's
back
a Saturday
at
afternoon at Peoria
for the
Stadium, and a
second
trip
half.
to the
We were
second
talking about
round of the
walk-up to
5A
the press
playoffs
box
is on the
earlier.
line today on Clutch
Have a
Sports
look
Media.
at it for
The Morgan
yourself.
Park
Just a
Mustangs have
climb
traveled
up the
down to
stairs in the
Peoria to square off
grandstand, then another
against the
walk up
Peoria
the
Lions.
stairs
Hello, everybody, and
to
welcome into the
catwalk, and then you take the leisurely stroll into the press box where the CSM team is stationed today. Thanks again to Brian Dunphy and Peoria High Athletics for having us, letting us take up 2 booths. Larry Larson, Joey Wright in with you from CSM. And Joey, it's always great to be here at the stadium, but a little extra juice today on a playoff game day.
playoff Saturday, first round of the IHSA playoffs ongoing across all 8 of its classes. The road to state will ultimately wind up to DeKalb, but today it runs through Peoria, and you see the journey that the Mustangs had to make on their way here today. That dotted line is not the route they took. That's as the crow flies, as they say. The drive, a touch more complicated than that. Probably went down to 55 through normal and took that up if I had to guess. But about 160 miles, 2.5 hours. You'd think they probably left Morgan Park around 8:30 this morning, got here in plenty of time. And if there is any sort of negative carryover from having to wake up and make that drive, Larry, it hasn't showed today. 26-24 going into the second half. Both teams have a chance to win this thing.
Definitely do, and you come off the bus, you try to get those legs warmed up. Not much of a struggle at all for the Morgan Park Mustangs. Did a great job out of the gate, and it's just been back and forth all game long. No telling who's going to come out and on top in this one, and it might come down to who has the ball last is going to win this game. It's been so exciting. Eddie Clark jumping out with a huge performance for the Lions. Got some stats courtesy of Dave Aminian from the Peoria Journal-Star. Clark with 131 yards on 26 carries, 2 catches for 31 yards, and, of course, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing and 1 on a screen pass.
For the Lions, it was Malachi Washington that opened up the scoring in this game with 8:13 left in the first quarter. From there, Morgan Park scored the next 2 touchdowns. Peoria bounced back for 2 in a row to respond. Eddie Clark scoring one of those touchdowns. Morgan Park scored to go ahead 24-20. And Peoria, with 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the second quarter, taking the final lead of the half, 26-24, where our score stands right now. For Morgan Park, it's been Tyshawn Griffin and Aaron Warren sharing the load. Aaron Warren, the quarterback. Tyshawn Griffin, listed as an athlete, has primarily played running back this afternoon. They have keyed the Morgan Park offense to some success early on.
Yeah, they definitely have, Joey, and it all starts with Warren because if you're the Lions defense, you got to key in on him, whether it be the passing game because he can air it out down the field, or the running game. You almost always have to have a linebacker, maybe not spying on him, but you got to have a linebacker or a defensive lineman constantly on him, knowing that he can take off and run at any given point. But you key in too much of a focus on Warren, then here comes Tyshawn Griffin, who's a big-time threat. So Griffin, the sophomore who can do it all, and as well as Warren with a great cast of receivers, it's tough to defend.
I want to thank everyone who has tuned in on this beautiful Saturday afternoon on ClutchSportsIL.com. A lot of our viewers, Larry, have caught wise to the fact that they can watch on YouTube as well. I see the live chat has been very active throughout the first half. Absolutely love to see that continue on strong in the second half, third quarter and fourth. Good crowd on hand here at the stadium, too. The weather was a little bit chilly when we rolled up. It was overcast, temperature in the mid-50s. It has warmed up, the temperature creeping into the low 60s. A beautiful sunny afternoon. There are still some clouds, but I look outside of the press box straight across from us, Larry. The clouds that are here are almost Simpsons-esque in that intro sequence. They're very pretty. Onside kick for Peoria to start things out. They might have it, but instead it will be the Lions. No, it will be, the Morgan Park Mustangs who recovered that. That was Grayer. Ironically enough, the kicker for Morgan Park, also a defensive back. Talked about that in the first half, that recovers it. And Morgan Park will set up shop just 1 yard shy of midfield.
This first drive is a great opportunity for the Mustangs to set the tone of the second half. An onside kick for the Lions to start. No surprise. They do that every single time in case you're just joining us. So expect to see that throughout the second half, but now a short field for the Mustangs. That's the caveat of all those onside kicks.
First play of the third quarter, a handoff to Griffin, and Tyshawn Griffin going up the middle on play number 1. Marked down at the 47-yard line, gained 4, 2nd and 6 forthcoming.
It almost looked like that was a quarterback option or read play of sorts, as it took a little bit of a second or two for Warren to officially hand the ball off to Griffin. Not surprising, both guys can really get the job done with the legs. Would not be surprised to see a few more of those plays in the second half.
As we talked about in the first half, Aaron Warren can make plays with his legs. Flag comes in as he tries to make one here. He's out of bounds at the 42, storming into the Peoria bench. That flag down a couple of yards behind the play at the 47 line of scrimmage.
And we'll see what the penalty flag is, but I watched that play till conclusion, and Warren ran into the Peoria sideline. Kind of fun to watch the players jawing off at each other. It was Frank Odom that escorted Warren out of bounds. The two were talking to each other. I'm sure a nice friendly conversation after that play wrapped up.
That penalty will march the Mustangs back after Warren made a nice play with his legs. We've seen a couple of those plays develop towards that Peoria bench. The Morgan Park bench has seen some action as well. And ball carriers like Warren or Griffin, whoever it is, they've got to be careful when they get over to those benches. Looking down at the Peoria bench, there's almost no grass left. It's essentially all dirt. So could be some plays, some players letting their guard down as these plays end. It's easy to lose your footing, and you've got to be careful all the way down.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's not raining. Otherwise, it would really be a muddy mess on both sidelines.
Second down and 11. Warren rolls out of the pocket, throws on the run, out of bounds at the 30-yard line. The intended receiver was Paul Branson. Branson caught a number of passes before the game as Warren warmed up with his wide receivers. Looked like a nice catch on that play, Larry. One of the managers over there at the 30-yard line, I believe, hauled it in.
Yeah, it was a good throw and a good catch by somebody over there, but I was so impressed with Warren throwing off of his back foot entirely off balance, chucked it that deep down the field. I mean, even though no complete pass there, I was thinking to myself, wow, what a throw.
Warren has among the most accurate arms we've seen this season. See if he uses it on 3rd and 11. Drops back. Pressure coming from the edges as he fires one down the field and incomplete. Kendall Sprouts was there for Morgan Park. Better coverage on the part of the Lions. In on that one, Eli McFadden.
Sprouts did a really good job of fighting through the contact there. He beat the cornerback by a few steps, turned and just could not get his hands underneath the ball quick enough. That ball was right there. He could have made the catch, but could not. Another good throw from Warren. And it does not look like the Mustangs will go for it.
Tough play as Sprouts was moving towards that sideline. Back out to punt, Ahmad Grayer. Not an apology, if you will, but I should clarify. Earlier in the game, I called Grayer a kicker. You got on me for that one, and Grayer has been all over the field defensively for Morgan Park this afternoon. Has also made some great plays with his legs on kickoffs and punts. Good punt that time, although it does take a Peoria bounce, rolls down to the 30. Grayer was hoping that was going to bounce the other way. Instead, kind of died when it hit the turf.
10:51 to go here in quarter number 3. Again, the clock not operational on the scoreboard, so we're getting relayed times from downstairs. Gavin Russell on the walkie-talkie for us. Joey, that punt, as it was sent away by Grayer, you saw dirt and turf fly off of his cleat. Probably tough to swing the leg with all that.
Can't imagine it makes things any easier. Clark gets this drive going. Peoria with 70 yards to drive if they want to end this with a touchdown. I think it's 65 yards now as Clark gains 5 yards. Want to note real quick on the time, if you're just joining us, this is new, but if you've been with us all afternoon, you've heard us mention this. The players can see the clock. It is kept at the footsteps of the home bleachers. And it's elevated enough to where they should have a pretty good angle on it. The home fans cannot see it. Morgan Park fans who are here and who have good eyesight can likely see it across the field. 3rd down and 4. Newbie Wholesome in. See if they go back to Clark, or if Gist drops back to pass, he's got to go back to get the errant snap. Falls on it. Near disaster for Peoria on 3rd down. Will make it 4th down and long and likely 4th down and a punt.
Yeah, the Lions almost never punt, Joey, but they would be wise to do so here. Gist will come out in the shotgun and send it away. They really don't do a punt formation. It's more of a pooch punt, but Morgan Park has Griffin back to return. I'll be excited to see what he can do with a kick return. You rarely get those opportunities against Peoria.
4th down and 20. Gist not all that far back in the shotgun. In fact, he's got Clark behind him. Peoria might be trying to engineer something with the hard count, but this is not the typical punt formation Peoria utilizes.
I mean, generally they don't even try the full-on punt formation, so that doesn't necessarily surprise me. Now they're going to burn a timeout.
Timeout called by the Lions. They were trying to get as much as they could from Morgan Park. When I saw Peoria play Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago, they would punt it from a shotgun look, but I don't recall them lining Clark up behind Gist. That looked like Peoria trying to catch the Mustangs off guard. In any case, the timeout, the first of the second half, comes with 9 minutes and 9 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. As you see at the bottom of your screen, 26-24 the score, Peoria leading. Peoria led first in this game, scoring with 8:13 left in the 1st quarter. Morgan Park bounced back for 2 straight scores. Peoria answered with 2 straight scores of their own. Then both teams traded touchdowns to end the half. Neither team has attempted an extra point yet. Through all the touchdowns we've seen, 4 on each side. We've seen 4 2-point conversion attempts on each side as well. Here's Gist again with Clark. 4 wide receivers. Gist is going to drop back to pass on a screen. It's complete. Staying on his feet is Nasha Robertson. He's trying to pass it, and he's brought down at the 10.
What a gamble that was for the Lions. I like the play call there. I mean, getting creative, that's something that we're used to seeing for Peoria. It looked like Robertson was going to have a chance to air it out, but great job by the Morgan Park defense to swarm him and make sure he didn't get that opportunity. And it's almost 1st and goal. It won't be a goal-to-go situation quite yet for the Mustangs, but they almost got one right off the turnover on downs. How often does that happen? Probably not very often.
Morgan Park with a very short field. As you said, not quite goal to go. They need 10 yards for a 1st down. That 1st down marker at the 2-yard line. As they start things out from the Peoria 12. Lions stack it 11 across. Warren rolling, looking. He's got Griffin as a blocker, and he's going to have an easy path to the end zone. Touchdown, Morgan Park. Aaron Warren runs it in.
Warren with just too much space to be stopped on the outside. He's been a workhorse all day long. Finds the outside, gets 1 or 2 blocks, and that's all you need. Making something happen. The senior stepping up big. Morgan Park back out in front.
8 minutes, 53 seconds left on the clock. Morgan Park ahead. And trying to go ahead by 6 points, which is going to be big if both teams keep going for 2. A 4-point lead, Peoria would be able to overcome. A 6-point lead, obviously, easy math to do. They need a 2-point conversion to take the lead. Griffin again lined up, right alongside Warren. 2, 3, and 4 the receivers. 1 in motion. Here's Warren going to Griffin, overthrew him in the flat.
That's a tough play. Warren had that defender right in front of him to screen the pass, but Warren threw that a little bit lower. I have to imagine Griffin could have made it to the end zone and walked in, but no less. Morgan Park back out in front, 30-24, and the seesaw battle continues into the second half. Not surprised.
This game has the possibility of being one of the higher scoring first round matchups we see across the state this week in any class. Certainly would not expect the scoring to slow down any as we work the early stages of quarter number 3. Joey Wright, Larry Larson, the entire Clutch Sports Media team, happy to have you along for the ride this afternoon. A beautiful sunny Saturday in Peoria. We'll see if Grayer decides to send it deep. He started Larry, Ahmad Grayer, Morgan Park's kicker, with a couple of deep kicks that actually went into the end zone for touchbacks. But since those first couple of kickoffs, he's tried some squib kicks. He's tried a couple kicks that have looked more like onside. So perhaps we don't know exactly what we're going to see here.
Yeah, who knows, especially with both these teams. They like to get creative, as we saw with Peoria on their special teams. Morgan Park also a little unconventional style.
Lions trying to erase a slim deficit, 8:53 showing on the clock as we continue through the third quarter. Line drive kick, fielded up front by Gary Rutherford. Rutherford past the 40, flag comes in at the 39. Pending the penalty, Rutherford with another nice play. That's the second kick he's returned today, and both have gone to about this part of the field.
I would hate to be in Rutherford's
side of Warren. Flag comes in. But before the delay of game penalty, a timeout called by Morgan Park and head coach Chris James. Folks, this is a good one if you like offense. 30-24 our score. Have not seen a lot of punts. We have seen no extra point attempts. It's been all 2-point conversions, a lot of touchdowns. This one's going to come down to the wire. To its own territory goes Morgan Park. Three wide receivers, one of whom is in motion right now. Sprouts switched sides, now goes back again. Warren on 1st and 15, hands off to Griffin. Griffin doesn't have a lot up the middle of the field. Brought down for a small gain. Last Lion to get up from that pile was Tawan Smith, the junior. But I mentioned earlier, you've got to give credit to this Lions interior. Cedric Beckham among those folks, as is Patrick Jordan III, who came up with a big sack earlier in the contest. Second down and long for the Mustangs. Lions back the secondary off, perhaps expecting pass. Here is Warren over the middle and slipping across the middle of the field was Christopher Durr. Or not quite across the middle, but that's where he was going, and that pass couldn't quite connect with him.
You want to take a moment. Thank you guys for sticking with us, rather. Technical difficulties, having some internet issues here at the stadium. Hopefully that issue is resolved, but doing our best to bring you the action. Good news is we didn't miss any scores.
That's right. What was the problem over there?
The internet.
The internet was the problem. The folks who were with us last time we were here last week for the Notre Dame game saw that it did that. It was a little choppy. Was great for a little bit. First half it ran into some problems, and then it was fine throughout. So hopefully we've got the problem resolved. Flag comes in, a problem that Morgan Park needs to resolve here, as that'll be a delay of game. And with there being no physical clock on the scoreboard, there is a clock that the teams can see right underneath us, but we've seen a lot of delays of game, or delay of games. I'm not quite sure what the plurality of that would be.
Delays. Great question.
Delay. We've seen a lot of timeouts called that would prevent those penalties as well.
Yeah, well, it's especially on third down and a distance like that, you want to try and maybe draw the defense off sides, but Mustangs taking up just too much time.
Here's Warren on 3rd and long. Drops back. Pocket collapses. He rolls out. He has a completed incomplete pass. Not complete, was close, as Harris fell down to the turf.
Well, Harris lost his balance there, Joey. Was wide open, almost recovered to get his footing back, but just did not have enough time to stable himself and make that catch. So another punt here coming up. How about the defenses buckling up here in this second half?
Had Harris been able to hold on to that, that would have gone to the 41-yard line, 2 yards shy of what Morgan Park would have needed for the first down. Instead, another punting situation. Peoria's defense, as I mentioned a moment ago, knows how to step up in clutch situations. They do that there. It looks as though they'll get the ball back, pending any trickery from the part of Grayer and the Mustangs. Down low, and here's Grayer punting it end over end past the 46. Actually, it bounces back from the 46 and rolls back to the 49 of Morgan Park. So Peoria will have a short field as they start this drive. Short field by 1 yard past the middle of the field, that would be.
Yeah, 5:56 left here in quarter number 3, so that clock's starting to wind down. Both teams doing a good job. They're settled into this game. And you could argue both teams playing their best football, even though the offenses aren't exactly humming.
Here's a carry up the middle for the Lions to the 40-yard line. Goes Peoria. They reset it now, 2nd down and 2. And Clark up the middle has a first down.
Clark able to make the play there. Joey Wright steps out. I'll step in. Clark again up the gut. Pulls over a man to the 20. Just as we said, both offenses starting to slow down here in the third quarter. The Lions continue to move along, led by Eddie Clark. And Morgan Park's going to take a timeout. And these Lions are fired up. Five minutes and 25 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Thanks for joining us today on CSM. Working through technical difficulties. Those are hopefully resolved at this point in the game. In case you're just joining us, Morgan Park has the only score here in this second half. A touchdown run from Aaron Warren. Warren has 3 touchdown runs today, getting the job done. The other score from Morgan Park from Tyshawn Griffin, the star sophomore. On the Lions side of things, Eddie Clark has 2 touchdowns, as well as another one on the board from Malachi Washington back in the first quarter. Joey steps back in.
Here I am. Thanks for joining us on ClutchSportsIsle.com tonight. Larry, what'd I miss?
A big run from Eddie Clark.
Easy to recap.
No.
He's known for a lot of those.
Definitely a predictable outcome.
Here's Clark again. Clark getting the carry. Clark looking for the 15. That's about where he's brought down. Second down coming up for the Lions. They go back to Clark. That offensive line trying to open up a gap for Clark. He's going to be close to the first down marker. It'll be 3rd down and 1. A point on Clark in just a moment as Gist takes the gun snap. Here he hands off to Clark, and Clark up past the 10. That should be enough for the first down and a 1st and goal. As important as Eddie Clark is to this Lions offense, this is such a deep offense, Larry. I think if you took Clark out of the mix, they'd still be able to make plays. You look at, Gist at quarterback or Deatrick Pollard, guys that have stepped up. Touchdown run from Malachi Washington. Clark, an important player, but as we call his name a lot, you've got to look at everything this Lions offense can do outside of him as well. Ricky Hearn as well.
Exactly. You don't want to key in too much on any one player, because if you focus too much on the run, the pass can burn you. Gist definitely has the arm to make some great plays. And then outside of that, you look at Pollard on the run side of things. He can also take some carries.
There you get a great look at the line of scrimmage. First down and goal. Gist looking for the snap, has it. Here's Clark. The Morgan Park defensive line stepping up through the middle, and brought down is Clark.
And Joey, this has been such a long drive for the Lions after a number of defensive stands for both sides. You really want to score here. And the Lions, despite being up only by a few points, if they were to score, would definitely feel like they have control of this game.
Both teams battling for control. It's been a back and forth affair. Peoria taking the second and goal snap from the 4-yard line. Gist with Newby, Holsom, and Clark. Clark gets the carry. Clark past the goal line. Is he in? Is he in? Waiting on the call. The officials have not signaled yet, and he's short by a yard. So not past the goal line. He's 1 yard short. Peoria quickly to the line. They go to Clark. That time Clark is in easily. Touchdown Lions, and the Lions could take the lead with a 2-point conversion.
3 touchdowns today for number 3. 3:49 remaining in the third quarter. Huge touchdown there for Peoria High, knocking on the doorstep for a few plays. Nice job capping off the drive. They're back in front.
With a 2-point conversion here, let's see how it plays out. 30 all our score. And here's Clark. Clark is in. Lions lead. 32-30. Eddie Clark getting the job done for Peoria. And folks, we've got a ball game as the fourth quarter hurdles towards us. 3:49 showing on the clock late in the third quarter.
Well, I was a little quick to say the Lions back out in front, but now they are. Eddie Clark getting it all done. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, the whole 9 yards, rather the whole 2 yards. On a 2-point conversion, but this Lions crowd is fired up, Joey. We're not really in any sort of position to hear the crowd or feel the crowd, but you can hear it outside of the box. We've got our door closed in here, but this crowd is fired up. The Lions players waving at the sideline, trying to get the grandstand going.
I tell you, we can hear them behind us. We can feel the band underneath us, those drums shaking the press box just a little bit. We can certainly hear the band when they come along and come alive. Cannot see the fans, but on some of those big runs, we can feel their presence. As we look across the field, we can see the Morgan Park contingent. They have brought a couple of fans along. As the Lions try another onside kick, fielded at the 49. And that's where Morgan Park will set up shop. 51 yards to drive. Sprouts recovers the onside kick.
Great play by Sprouts there. He was really the only one around the football. Came right to him. Turned up the pressure, but he withstood. And again, another short field for the Mustangs. Chance for them to go back out in front as we creep closer to crunch time.
Lions getting the crowd into it. Couple of Lions sprinting off. They make it off just in time. Taywon Smith and Eli McFadden come out as Morgan Park tries to reclaim the lead. And that journey begins with a handoff to Griffin. Griffin not able to get anything there. Gained 2 on the play. 2nd and 8 coming up. And another handoff to Griffin. This time he's going to gain a lot more. Look at him drag the defender along. Doing his best to bring him down was Cedric Beckham, and Beckham ultimately won the war, but a lot of battles won by Griffin on the way.
He was dragging him along with one leg, still finding a way to go. Griffin just accelerates so quickly. I've said it time and time again today, but it wows me every time he gets the handoff. Just snap of the finger, and he's gone.
Tyshawn Griffin, what a piece he is in the backfield, alongside a cannon of an arm and Aaron Warren. 1st and 10, 40-yard line. Warren drops back. Again, pressure from the edge. Warren not able to keep his footing along the 45-yard line. A late flag down. So many times, Larry, Peoria has brought pressure, and usually it comes from those edges. And that'll be a holding penalty against the Mustangs on that penalty.
2:50 to go here in the quarter. So it looks like offsetting penalties here, Joey, is going to be the case, I think. Or rather, a penalty against Peoria. They originally signaled against Morgan Park, but unsportsmanlike conduct, I think, is the call. That'll give Morgan Park a first down and then some. So costly penalty. Can't be having that in playoff games. Got to be careful.
Perhaps an errant hand signal there on the part of the official. It is an unsportsmanlike conduct. So often when you have a late penalty, it's for something like unsportsmanlike conduct. Griffin, after the penalty, trying to take it up the middle. Brought down, gain of 3. Inside of the final 3 minutes of quarter number 3.
For the Lions here, after that penalty, you got to take a deep breath, got to reset, refocus. Make sure you're doing all the right things and not losing your focus. Big part of the game here. It's when the fatigue starts to hit.
2nd down and 7. Up the gut is Griffin. Griffin down to the 21. We cross the 2-minute mark in the third quarter. 2 minutes left. Morgan Park trying to end this third quarter with a score, perhaps begin the fourth. They've got a big third down here.
This is 4-down territory, and both these teams rarely see anything as not 4-down territory. So 3rd and manageable here. Even if they don't get the yardage, they'll go for it on 4th down.
Griffin in motion, but it's going to be a keeper for Warren, and Warren is going nowhere. The Lions defense again steps up to answer the call. It didn't help Larry that he didn't have a 100% solid footing on that, but the pressure from the Lions was what finished the play.
Great play. The defensive line for Peoria today has been so good. Getting to Griffin, getting to Warren, especially in the backfield when he rolls out of the pocket. That defensive line so mobile, and they show it off there getting around the offensive line.
4th down and 7 coming up. It's 4-down territory and 4 wide receivers in what we would figure to be a passing situation for Morgan Park. Warren drops back, steps up, fires over the middle, and the pass dropped by Harris. Harris initially looked like he was going to make the catch as he came across the middle on a slant, but couldn't hold on to it, and the Lions force a turnover on downs and take over late in the third quarter.
Well, a great play there by Warren, hit his receiver in the hands. Harris had it, like you said, but then the defender came over the middle, knocked it loose, bounced on the ground, came right back to Harris, but couldn't fool the official there.
40 seconds left in Q3. The Lions with a 75-yard field in front of them. From the 25, here's Clark. Clark up past the 30. Look at that offensive line. Help him move forward. Clark is finally brought down by McKinley Dunnigan. Dunnigan lining up alongside Omari Knight on the line. Now they shift. 2nd down and 1. Clock running. Here's Clark. Clark up the middle. Has enough for the first down to the 41.
Probably about 1 more or 2 more plays left here in this third quarter. Eddie Clark is rolling. He's playing some of his best football of the game right now.
And Clark goes past the 40. Cuts about what they need for the first down in half, maybe a little less than that. To my eye, actually looks like it will be exactly 2nd and 5 as the third quarter draws to a close. The Lions ultimately had 1 more play left, a 5-yard run for Clark, and that's how the third quarter ends. 32-30 after 3. Fourth quarter is going to be a good one. Peoria looking to take a 2-score lead with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But Morgan Park's defense has made some plays, especially in the second half.
this drive is so critical for the Lions because if they can march down the field, of course, they never have chewing the clock in their mind, but if they march down the field, take off some time off that scoreboard, and then end it with a touchdown, and then they get the 2-point conversion, that puts them up by 10 points, and I don't know if Morgan Park can come back down 2 possessions in the 4th on the road. That's a tall order. It's possible because of all the playmakers they have, but it would be very, very difficult, especially the way that the momentum is trending in this game.
Remember, folks, if Peoria scores a touchdown, and I don't mean to insinuate our viewers can't do the simple math, but they would go ahead 38-30. They still need that 2-point conversion. Neither of these teams likes to kick extra points, so they just don't. And, you know, an 8-point lead, you got to get that 2-point conversion to really get that advantage here. The touchdown itself won't be quite enough, but that's where it starts, and that's where Eddie Clark is trying to take them.
Definitely, and Peoria is going to keep feeding the hot hand. Clark is rolling right now. His offensive line doing a great job opening up holes for him. He can't be stopped right now, and sure, it's only a few yard pickups at a time, as just as I say, he can't be stopped. He gets bowled over by Morgan Park's front 4, but it seems like every play he's picking up good chunk yardage, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 yards.
And when you can get the running backs rolling like that, it makes it very easy. 2nd down and 10. Gist again lining up with Clark behind him. Just one receiver, 2 receivers, pardon me, in the formation, Hearn and Pollard. One-on-one coverage with Hearn going up against Durr right now. That is far side. And they're going to pass here over the middle and intercepted by Durr, who slid over in zone and makes the play past the 50 out of bounds. That's a huge turnover, a big interception for Durr, his 2nd interception of the contest, and Morgan Park storms back.
Joey, just as we start talking about how Peoria can take control and go up 2 scores, the Mustangs say, no, not today. Great play by Durr. 2 interceptions in the same game. That doesn't happen very often in high school. Have a day, young man.
Christopher Durr all over the field right now for Morgan Park. Making plays, getting the job done. As it now falls on the Lions' defense to make a play as a very capable Morgan Park offense returns. Early in the 4th quarter, Morgan Park could reclaim the lead here. Here's Warren. Warren past the 50, stays on his feet, trying to get to the 45, brought down by Beckham. Assisting on the tackle, Jacob Wright. 3-yard gain on 1st and 10. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 for Morgan Park.
Yeah, you see that play moving to the outside with Warren carrying the football. He needed a few more blocks to make something happen, but that's, again, where he's dangerous. You get more of those blocks to the outside. He could have busted a long one. Good job by the Lions defense.
2nd down. Griffin going up the middle. Linemen pushing him forward as best they can. Michael Whitelow was behind him trying to move him forward. He was getting a nice block from Devin King as well. King, a captain for the Mustangs. Sets up a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and about 5. 3 wide outs, and again, the hard count. Larry will await the call, but to me, that looks like encroachment, and it is.
Good play call to go to the hard count. Lions defense, few of those defensive ends jumped a little bit too much. Looked like they might recover in time, but they could not. 3rd down and very short here. This is more than manageable, especially considering both teams would go for it on 4th down. And now I think the officials are going to discuss something.
As we look at it and as our camera looked at it, and you saw it at home, that was the entire right side of the line, it looked like, that got a jump. Right now those guys lining up is Caleb Lawson and Savion Brent. Larry, we have a time update from Gavin down low.
9:48 to go in quarter number 4.
And you can feel each second getting a little heavier as we move towards the finish line. You can hear, well, at least we can hear, I don't know about you at home, but we can hear the coaches chattering on the Peoria bench. We're going to have a measurement here on third down.
First time the sticks have been brought out today.
It's going to be a measurement down there at the 41-yard line. Our camera not picking up the measurement, but rather a quick conversation between Chris James and his quarterback, Aaron Warren. That measurement short. So it'll be fourth down.
Third
down, and 1.
Not very often you see the sticks come out after a penalty call, but
no.
Here we are.
3rd and 1. Morgan Park trying to get into Peoria territory. 3rd and essentially inches after the measurement, and it's Griffin lit up in the backfield. Did he fall forward for the first down, or will he be short again on 4th down?
Joey, I mean, based on the looks of it, it looked like the football had enough, but they're going to mark him down short.
They mark the ball at the 41. The line to gain, the 41.5. It's 4th and inches for Morgan Park, trailing by 2. They'll run out 3 wide receivers. Again, it's Griffin in the backfield with Warren. Warren trying to instigate some motion on the defensive line. Doesn't have it with that clap, and Morgan Park will call a timeout. Larry, it to me seems like we've got some endless stream of timeouts today.
Yes. Whether it be injuries, timeouts on both sides, the chains coming out. 9:06 left. Morgan Park burns a timeout. And especially if you're the Mustangs, now trailing in this game, still with the football in a good spot, plenty of time left on the clock, but you don't like to burn a timeout there, especially considering that you're trailing on the road. So they've still got 2 remaining, not the end of the world. I don't mind them going for the hard count, and that would move the chains if they could draw Peoria off sides again like they did earlier on this set of downs.
We've seen both lines move a lot. We've had a lot of penalties for false starts, a lot for encroachment. Larry, I think it's got to be 4-down territory here, 4th and inches.
Without a doubt. I think the second half started, and it's 4-down territory on almost every play unless it's beyond 10 yards. If neither of these teams are going to punt, might as well keep on going for it.
That's right.
Again, playing Madden style.
Well, and this is a logical call for Chris James and the Morgan Park coaching staff. It is 4th and literally probably 6 inches from the 39-yard line. You're in Peoria territory. You might as well try it here. Lining up is the lone man in the backfield. Shotgun formation is Warren. Watch for a quarterback draw. He's going to run it out far side. Slips past the line. Staying on his feet. Past the 20. Past the 10. Warren looking for the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown, Morgan Park.
Is that Aaron Warren or Marshawn Lynch? Oh, my goodness gracious. What a play by Warren. It looked like he was going to have just enough and a few more yards to move the sticks. But he shook one tackle, then shook another, out-sprinted a man down the sideline. Warren doing it all today. Wow.
Have a game number 10. Aaron Warren puts the Mustangs back in front. Oh, my goodness.
4th touchdown run.
And it comes early in the 4th quarter for Warren. And now Peoria will have to go on the offensive. 2-point conversion forthcoming first. This is a big one, would give Morgan Park a 6-point lead. Here's Warren stepping up in the pocket, firing a bullet to the end zone and off the hands of Harris. Incomplete. So the 2-point conversion doesn't yield anything for the Mustangs. They stay ahead 36-32, as you see on the bottom of your screen. With both teams going for 2 so often, of course, you want to have the 6-point lead because it gives you a good chance to keep it tied if you can stop that 2-point conversion. Well, 100% chance to keep it tied if you can stop the 2-point conversion there, but They stay ahead by 4, and Peoria has the numbers on their side if they can knock in the 38th point of the game on a touchdown. There's 8 minutes and 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter. A game that's going to need all of those 8 minutes and 55 seconds to determine a winner.
Yeah, definitely, Joey. We said it, I think, in the first half at some point, but this game might come down to who has the ball last, which was not surprising considering the offenses for both these teams so productive, so good, so many playmakers. This has been one heck of a game.
36-34 our score. Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. As a good kick over across the 30-yard line. This is fielded by Rutherford.
Again, how about that? Snagged it out of midair. That was wild. Did not expect him to snag that one out of midair, but he did. Rutherford taking it into his own hands. So the Lions now setting up shop, trying to go back in front and swing the momentum. Gists drops back, has a man down the sideline. What a catch by Ricky Hearn. And then he dropped it.
Want to confirm real quick, Larry, our score is 36-34, not 36-32. Our scoreboard had that right. We're keeping our own score in here. No scoreboard, got a little crossed up there, folks. Apologize for that confusion. We'll figure out where we went wrong there at some point. We added 8 points, it looks like, for that touchdown in the second quarter.
All right, well, 36-34, that's...
Ball's on the ground. Morgan Park trying to get it back. The Mustangs say they have it. They do.
Oh, man.
And they could build on this 2-point lead here. How about that from Morgan Park? Lions put it on the ground, and the Mustangs take advantage.
8:37 to go. Still plenty of time for the Lions, but holy mackerel, Morgan Park coming through with the big turnovers, and you could say that turnovers have been the Achilles heel of this Lions team all season long, but generally it's the interceptions rather than the fumbles, but Peoria coughs one up here.
And oh, how things begin to change. The tension rising on both sidelines. The Mustangs know how important this drive is going to be. The Lions do also. A short field for Morgan Park, ahead by 2, 36-34, and a flag comes in. Is that going to be a delay of game? It's a delay of game against Morgan Park.
Not a great way to start the drive, but gives the Lions a little bit more hope. Defense more room to work with, but again, 5 yards in the grand scheme of things, not all that much for an MP team that has so many guys that can make plays.
Chief among those guys, Tyshawn Griffin and Aaron Warren today, although we've also seen Kendall Sprouts step up as a receiver, make some big catches. We'll see if that's where they go now. This is Kendall Sprouts, Christopher Durr on the catch. Saw the 3, got a little crossed up. Durr has been that guy defensively, though, who's been there so often for Morgan Park. And it's Warren making a big play with the arm again.
Durr with the interceptions, 2 of them today, hauls it in on the other side of the football. And why not another great pass from Warren? He hasn't had a bad one today, you could argue.
First down and goal, 5-yard line for Morgan Park, ahead by 2. Same situation we found ourselves in a moment ago. More on that in a moment as Warren calls it out. Rolls right. Warren looking for a hole in the line. Flag comes in as he gets in, but we'll await the call on the flag in the backfield. Pending the penalty, it's a Morgan Park touchdown. There you get a look at Aaron Warren celebrating with his teammates. Over there is Jacob McCarthy. Kendall Sprouts came over to celebrate too, but that's going to be a hold against the Mustangs. We'll call it all back.
Well, if you're the Lions here, I'm sure they're probably a bit jarred, right? Your star running back coughs up the football, turn it over twice in the fourth quarter, and you give up that big pass. This penalty call is a chance to reset, take a deep breath, focus in. This defense is more than capable of coming up with a stand. Talking with Tim Thornton throughout the year, he thinks this defense is the best it's been in years for the Lions. They got to come through now. Season's starting to be on the line here.
And they've played that way this season. First and goal from the 18. Warren over the middle of the field was intended for Harris and incomplete, nearly intercepted. Lions secondary getting over and making a play on that one. Beckham was over there as well as Nasha Robertson.
That was Cedric Beckham trying to channel Odell Beckham. Almost had the one-handed interception. And what a swing that would have been if that happened. But now second and goal, way back near the 20. If you're the Lions, you're in a good spot here. But again, you got to be ready to cover the pass, because Morgan Park has opened up the playbook a little bit.
Right around the midway mark of the fourth quarter, Morgan Park trying to go ahead by 2 scores with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And how about that? Warren wasn't ready for the snap. He recovers it, but he's pushed back and down at the 20. A miscommunication there between Warren as a flag comes in at the 21-yard line, right down the line of scrimmage. Miscommunication that time.
It's false start against Morgan Park, but oh my goodness, Joey. This game has had a little bit of everything. Almost disaster for Morgan Park there. They catch a little bit of a break. Good job by Warren to recover. But Peoria declines the penalty. So third down and long coming up.
From the 20-yard line will be second and goal from the 20.
It should be third.
They've not updated that. Now they update it to third down. Morgan Park nearly got an extra down on that. Warren will get the play call from Chris James on the sideline. Now heads back towards the line of scrimmage. The Peoria crowd getting loud. It's third and goal from the 20. 2 plays for the Mustangs to try and punch it in. 2 plays for the Lions to hold and get a chance to retake the lead. Here's Warren back at the 25, rolling out, looking for a man downfield, has Sprouts in the end zone, off the hands of Sprouts and incomplete. A flag down at the 21. And Larry, I followed that as it went down to Sprouts in the end zone. Did you see any indication?
The flag came in right as the play started, so this might be false start, and it is.
That'll wipe that out. It'll be third and goal from the 25.
If the Lions accept.
And they will decline it because obviously you want to take the loss of down there. 7.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter as they decline that penalty. You take the loss of down there if you're Peoria. Fourth and goal, 20-yard line. One chance to go 20 yards for the Mustangs. Ahead by 2. Harris and Sprouts lined up near side. Durr and Branson far side. Again, Peoria's defensive line gets in there, makes it more difficult for Warren, and that pass incomplete, looking for Harris out of the end zone. Peoria comes up with a big stop on what at one point looked like it was going to be another touchdown drive for Morgan Park. The Lions defense answers the call.
Big time, Joey. As we were saying, that unit is pretty good despite all the points on the board today. They got the timely stop. They got the stop when they needed to. They come through there, and now it's up to their offense to try and bounce back after a few turnovers here in this fourth quarter.
The Lions defense holds. 7:30 left in regulation. We've got a good one at Peoria Stadium. Opening round of the 5A playoffs. Handoff to Clark goes nowhere to start drive number probably 12 for the Lions.
I was going
nowhere
to say,
but for
you
a couple of
knew
yards.
the
Yeah,
drive number, huh?
Started that sentence and had nowhere to go. As here's Gist passing one out and caught by Hearn. Ricky Hearn to the 25 before he's brought down. However many drives we've seen, Larry, we've seen
a lot.
At this point, as many almost end in defensive stops as touchdowns, which early on seemed as though, and that's how most football games work, we should say, but didn't look like that's how this one was going to go. Handoff to Clark. Clark past the 30. Two Mustangs take him down. Dante Haynes teaming up with Ahmad Grayer.
Clark is going to be the guy on this drive. I don't expect the ball to go elsewhere very much, maybe to Pollard a few times.
Here's Clark. Clark nearly broke into the open field. Ball came out late. Morgan Park says they have it. No indication yet. Was Clark down is the question. The officials will talk. The whistle did not come in until after the play, and Morgan Park has a fumble recovery. Morgan Park forces a turnover. Clark puts the ball on the ground, and the Mustangs will take over at the 44-yard line. We do have a couple of officials still talking, but no indication that the call on the field will change. They'll mark it down at the 46 instead of the 44. Morgan Park has the ball. What a play defensively.
Joey, the Peoria sideline shocked. I'm shocked. I think Morgan Park's a little shocked. Back-to-back fumbles forced. A great play. I think Clark was on top of a defender. The ball got punched out as he was sort of on the ground. Good call by the officials there, and now Morgan Park well in control.
And what could be the most important drive of the game starts now. Griffin forced backwards. Newbie Wholesome came in. I think he'll get credit for the assist on that tackle. Waiting to see who finished it off. And that was Jakeem Hahn, who's had a couple of big sacks, a big presence in that backfield tonight, finishes the job. Larry, did we get a time update from Gavin a moment ago?
I missed it. We'll get one soon. I would estimate under 6 minutes to go now.
Working right around that 6-minute mark, about midway through the fourth quarter.
We have a time.
It is a one-score game for the time being. 2nd and 10. Larry, you were spot on. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And here's a bit of a different look as Kendall Sprouts comes around, gets the end around.
5.5 minutes to go now.
As the clock runs on Sprouts' reverse run there. 3rd down and 6. And one of the bigger sequences of the game is upon us here. You've got to figure 4-down territory for Morgan Park right here.
Of course it is, but if you're the Lions, you don't want to sell out on a run, don't want to sell out on a pass. It's neither one of those situations. Probably a run situation for Morgan Park, but you got to be ready for anything.
Low snap, play action. Warren looking deep, looking for Durr. Durr has the catch past the 10-yard line. 1st and goal, Mustangs. Christopher Durr. Christopher Durr might be a candidate for player of the game when we figure this one out afterwards. 2 interceptions and a huge reception there marches the Mustangs downfield.
That's back-to-back drives that Durr has a deep downfield catch, getting it to a goal-to-go situation. Peoria High was able to stop the Mustangs the last time this happened, but got to do it again.
1st and goal from the 5. Here's Warren. Warren knocked down at what looks like the 2-yard line. So 2nd and goal coming up, although that last drive that Durr kept alive, it looks certainly as though Morgan Park was on track to score. Some late penalties, some late things got in the way.
I think the Mustangs probably won't make those same mistakes again, so the Lions have to do it themselves. And allowing 1 or 2 yards on every play is not going to get the job done. It's so hard to stop Warren and Griffin.
2nd and goal. 2-point lead for Morgan Park. Trying to make it a 2-score game. Here's Warren. Nearly slipped, stays on his feet. He's in the end zone for a Morgan Park touchdown, and that's going to be big. What's going to be even bigger is the 2-point conversion. 3 minutes and 59 seconds left in the 4th quarter. And as we add it up, that's another run from Warren. Score now 42.
That's 5 touchdown runs for Warren today. My goodness.
42-34. If Morgan Park can punch this in, it's a 2-score game late. Just under 4 minutes to play. If not, Peoria could tie it. Here's Warren. Warren. Near the goal line, he's in. The Mustangs get the 2-point conversion. Aaron Warren continues to step up. Play after play from the senior quarterback. 44-34. Peoria's going to have some work to do in the last 4 minutes, but Morgan Park could be looking at a round 2 battle with Kankakee or Carbondale. Certainly don't want to call it yet.
Definitely not, but it's going to take a comeback for the ages. If there's anybody that can do it with a high pace of play, it's the Peoria Lions. But you can't have any more turnovers. You can't have any more fumbles. You got to throw the ball a little bit. Tino Gist has thrown 2 interceptions today. If you're the Lions, it's going to take a lot. Got to focus, got to muscle up here. It's going to be a lot to handle, a tall task against this Morgan Park defense that has come up in big situations time and time again today. I've been so impressed with the Mustangs. First time that we've seen them play this year. They've been a lot of fun to watch, come through with a lot of big plays. They've got playmakers on both sides of the football. And if they can finish this one off, they could be a force to be reckoned with in the later rounds.
That was a tremendous look at the Morgan Park bench, and specifically Aaron, as it's a chance for Rutherford again. That ball's on the ground, and Morgan Park's going to have this one too. Gary Rutherford put it on the ground. Morgan Park recovers. Jonas Lee is going to be the big man when he gets back to the bench. Drops the ball, and Morgan Park might have gone a long way with that one towards getting to round 2.
Might have. They did. If they can pick up a few more first downs, this game is all but over. 3 fumbles in the 4th quarter for Peoria. Wow.
It has quite literally started to slip away from Peoria here in the 4th quarter. They do have about 4 minutes left to make a play on defense, make a couple of plays on defense that could get that offense a chance to get the ball back. But Morgan Park, you can't say enough about this 4th quarter. They have hit their marks, and they've forced Peoria into a number of mistakes. Aaron Warren back out onto the field. 46-yard line is where this drive will start for Morgan Park. Mustangs riding high right now. Here is Warren staying on his feet to the 30, to the 20. Aaron Warren, touchdown Mustangs.
6 for Warren.
Aaron Warren goes 46 yards for the score. We'll await the 2-point conversion, but it's 50-34 right now. Morgan Park has dominated the last several minutes.
The last 3 scores, all Aaron Warren touchdown runs.
1 play, 1 run of 46 yards for Warren. Now, if they don't get this 2-point conversion, it still stands at a 2-point game, or a 2-score game, pardon me. Warren and the Mustangs need this. Going to the corner of the end zone and intercepted by Peoria. Eli McFadden coming up big there, so the 2-point conversion attempt, no dice. And now, Larry, you need 2-point conversions if you're Peoria, but the general situation doesn't change with it still being a 2-score game. 2:44 did he say left in the game?
I believe he said 3:44.
I think he said 3:44 also.
Not much time between touchdowns. About 15 seconds between Aaron Warren touchdown scores. Probably the best individual performance I've seen all year, Joey. I've seen a lot of good ones. Seth Glatz against Dunlap in Week 9, and then, of course, him yesterday scoring 7 touchdowns in Morton's first-round playoff win. But this is a performance for the ages from Aaron Warren. One of the games of his life. He's going to send Morgan Park to the next round of the playoffs, more likely than not.
Peoria needs to execute to perfection late. 3:44 left. As Morgan Park will get the special teams unit in position for what looks like an onside kick. They're going to try to put the game away right here if that's the case. We'll see if that is what the Mustangs elect to do. Grayer setting the ball on that hash mark. Peoria brings a couple of guys up front to the 49-yard line to defend against the possibility. Grayer will try the onside kick to the 40-yard line, and Peoria recovers. Cedric Beckham is there.
Well, Joey, the first things first for the Lions here, I think they've been getting ahead of themselves. It's easy to do. You're down late in the playoffs. Your season's on the line. Careers coming to an end for guys. You got to focus on the first thing, taking care of the football. Got to hang on to that thing. It's easy to think, okay, I need to score here. I get the ball. I need to score. I need to go downfield. Got to focus on hanging on to that thing, wrap that thing up. Don't let Morgan Park strip it for the 4th consecutive time.
3 late fumbles have plagued the Lions. They're not out of this yet, though, if they can punch it in quick. And to say they're not out of this yet is not to say that Morgan Park isn't firmly in control. Spinning around is Gist, and that's caught by Ricky Hearn. Hearn staying on his feet. Now he's brought down at the 48-yard line. Bit of a nifty play there as Gist spun out of trouble. Didn't even spin out of trouble, did Tino Gist. He just kind of switched his body, faked out the defense. It's enough for a 2nd down and 4. 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Running clock. Over the middle. Pass is caught. Peoria is going to hop back into the scoring column. Nasha Robertson goes to the house. 49 yards. The second 49-yard touchdown pass that Gist has thrown. And this game not over yet, but Peoria needs this 2-point conversion.
2:56 to go, Joey. You're right. This game is far from over, but they need to make something happen here.
Tino Gist engineering a quick drive. Quick being the key word. That's exactly what Peoria needed. But this game still on life support for the Lions. They need this 2-point conversion to keep it going. If not, they're still looking at a 2-score game with time starting to run out. Robertson goes in motion. Handoff Clark. Clark somehow staying on his feet and into the end zone for a 2-point conversion. An 8-point game at Peoria Stadium.
Don't tune out yet. Don't tune out yet because the onside kick's coming up, or do you trust your defense to send it long? I think both of those things are options for Peoria. But if I'm Tim Thornton on that sideline, I don't want to give the ball back to Aaron Warren. You got to go for the onside kick here and try and snag that thing.
It is 50-42. Just a couple of ticks under 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. 2:56. Peoria is going to try an onside kick. That much we can surmise from having seen them this season and from how the game has played. They've not kicked it deep yet. That's going to be their first attempt. Thereafter, if they don't get the onside kick, they're going to have to play with their timeouts. 50-42, Morgan Park leads. As we track it, Peoria and Morgan Park both with 2 timeouts left.
2:56 to go in the game. Again, the scoreboard not operational at Peoria Stadium today. We're being relayed the time from downstairs.
Gavin Russell doing a great job. Onside kick coming for Peoria. Sent 5 yards forward and recovered at the 48 by Peoria. To me, Larry, it looked like that was before it went 10 yards. I think the officials saw the same thing.
It was close, but again, it did not travel far enough.
And it's easy to say, well, he should have waited until it went 2 more yards to recover that, but it's so hard. You're running towards the ball at full speed. But the ball's doing its own thing. You really can't take anything off there. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's hard to think in that moment, okay, gotta wait. You want to get to the football. That's your instinct on onside kicks. Get to the football, dive on the football, and that's exactly what Malachi Washington did. But now you hear the sideline for Peoria. The coach is shouting, we got 2 timeouts. It's not over. It's not over. This is where that last F comes in. FHF, fast, hard, finish. Got to finish the job. Aaron Warren has torched this Peoria defense the last 3 times. Last 3 drives, 3 touchdowns for Warren. Got to wrap him up. This is do or die. This is it.
2:56 left in somebody's season, barring overtime, I suppose, which could be a possibility if Peoria gets it back. Morgan Park just under 3 minutes away from a date with Kankakee or Carbondale. Peoria trying to put a stop to those plans. Here's Warren on 1st and 10. You see that Lions defensive line, each and every one of them converging and making it difficult on Warren. Whistle dead, forward progress to the 46, gained 2.
2:47 left, clock moving. That's the most important part for Morgan Park here. I don't think they'll pass unless it gets to 3rd down and long or 4th down and long.
And with the way they've run the ball, that's an easy strategy. Pound the rock. 2nd down and 8 coming up here. Peoria not changing anything schematically, stacking everyone across that line of scrimmage. 1 wide receiver. Warren keeps it himself. Wrapped up. No, shakes off a couple of defenders and goes down at the 45. When I said wrapped up, 1 Lion had gotten a hand out there and on that number 10 jersey, but Warren stays on his feet to the 45. Minute 57 and running.
And a heads-up play by Warren. He was moving towards the sideline, getting bumped, so he slid, and that forces Peoria to take a timeout with 1:57 to go. 3rd and, 6?
As I look at, 3rd and 6, the line to gain is right between the 38 and 39 yard lines. And the line of scrimmage here will be the 48.
And they've held Warren.
No, pardon me, the 45 real quick. The original line was the 48.
Regardless, they've held Warren to 2-yard gains on each play. If they can do that again, makes it 4th and 4. Morgan Park would go for it. But you got to stop Warren or Griffin or Harris or Sprouts or whoever touches the ball just twice. This Lions defense, they're continuing to play confident. They know this is far from over. But if Morgan Park converts, barring an epic collapse, it is over.
It's going to come down to these 2 plays. Call it 3rd and 7 for Morgan Park. Real quick, who has the upper hand in this situation?
I think it's definitely Aaron Warren and Morgan Park. They've got the lead. They've got the confidence. Warren has been so productive moving the ball on the ground today. It's got to be the senior quarterback.
3rd down and 7. Minute 57 left in regulation. Warren has Griffin to his left and rolls to that same side. Drops back for a surprise pass to Harris. Incomplete. No flags down the field, but one is down at the 40.
1:51 to go. This is going to be a call that could determine the game.
Would not figure, and that's going to be a hold against Peoria. Defensive holding against the Lions. I was going to say it didn't look like anything down the field, but that is going to be a 1st down for Morgan Park on a defensive hold far side of the field. And Larry, that may well do it for Morgan Park as the Mustangs look to advance to the next round.
Peoria's got 1 timeout left. They need to go for the football here.
Morgan Park not quite in a situation where they can kneel on it yet. 1st down and 10, 35-yard line, and Griffin wrapped up and brought down at the 34. Gained 1 yard. 1:45 as Peoria takes its final timeout.
And you have no choice there if you're the Lions. And you look at their huddle, they're dejected. They can't quite believe it. Not exactly over yet, Joey, but a few more runs for Morgan Park. They keep the clock rolling, and it will be over.
Peoria is going to have a chance for maybe one play. 40-second play clock on what would be third down after this with, what, about 1:40 left? That takes it down to a minute.
1:45 on the clock currently, so
you budget maybe 3 to 5 seconds for a quick stop for Peoria.
And that's assuming you get the stops.
That's right. Well, you got to assume
which
stops.
Is a bold assumption against Morgan Park today, especially in the second half. Aaron Warren with 6 touchdown runs, the quarterback for the Mustangs, having one of the best performances in the entire first round in any class.
You budget 3 to 5 seconds for a quick play, gets the clock at 1:40, 40-second play clock. Morgan Park would run its next play with about a minute left. 3 to 5 seconds for that play. And Peoria could field a punt perhaps, or get a fourth down stop with just a couple of seconds left on the clock. Need 2 stops. Morgan Park just needs a first down to ice it. They look good here on second down. Griffin wrapped up, brought down. Peoria goes for the ball. Doesn't have it that time, but you can see them trying to rip the ball away from Tyshawn Griffin. 1:38 and running. Third down and 11 coming up for Morgan Park. Larry, you were right on it. Peoria's got to be aggressive going for that ball, and
they almost had it.
Almost.
Tyshawn Griffin, credit to him. He's only a sophomore. He knows what to do there. Wrap it up, protect the football. No brainer, but he held on to that thing for dear life, and it worked out, at least on that play. I have to imagine that Warren will get the carry.
Third and 11, running clock, deep into the fourth quarter. Under 1:20 remaining. Here's Warren. Rolls out to that same side. He's done so multiple times today, but the Lions defense steps up and they make the stop they needed. 48 seconds and running as Warren is brought down. It'll be fourth down and 11. Gavin Russell continuing to keep us updated on the clock, which is running down on the field. Morgan Park will likely run this down as long as they can. 27 seconds, 26 seconds. Morgan Park's not going to run a play. They're going to use one of their last remaining timeouts or take a delay and probably punt it. Clock continues to run.
Rather, all they need to do is just hang on to the football and run around for a few seconds, and that's it.
They could do that as well, absolutely. They're going to have one more play to run at least. Now we have a timeout called by the Mustangs.
2.3 seconds on the clock officially. So this is going to take a miracle for the Lions to score a touchdown and then come through with a 2-point conversion to send this thing to overtime. However, there's time left on the clock. Anything can happen. It's not over until that final whistle sounds, but all Morgan Park needs to do is run around for a few seconds, slide, and that's it.
Warren lining up deep in the shotgun formation here. 2.3 seconds left. Now he gets into a conventional formation. Let's see what Morgan Park does. Low snap. Warren goes down, and Morgan Park goes on. They will play the winner of Carbondale and Kankakee in round 2. 50-42 win over Peoria in a thriller round 1 of the 5A playoffs. There you see the celebration on the field, all the emotions. A hard-fought game on both sides. You can see the respect as players congratulate each other, the coaches at midfield. Chris James and Tim Thornton share a handshake, share words. What a game in round 1 of the 5A playoffs.
everything I expected it to be, Joey, and you love to see the sportsmanship. Aaron Warren trying to console some Peoria Lions, but Aaron Warren was probably the guy to end their careers, a few of them. I mean, that was an unbelievable game. And Warren and the Mustangs will ride on to the postseason. But, man, that one stings if you're a Lions fan. Feel for Peoria High, because this is a team that had the talent to win at least a few games, in my opinion, in the postseason. You run into a tough draw. Morgan Park, out of the CPL, comes on the road for, I don't want to call it a stunner necessarily, but this crowd is stunned.
Well, it was a game that either side had a chance to grab, especially early in the second half as Morgan Park takes off. They're going to celebrate this one. The end zone that they so often found there. Aaron Warren leading the charge. Yeah, it's a stinger for sure. It's a stunner to some extent because both teams were right there. And I think at any point in the first three quarters, you could have said Morgan Park has it or Peoria has it. And Morgan Park ultimately had just enough in the tank to pull away late and win it by 8.
What a game it was, Joey. We expected it. I mean, a 9 seed versus an 8 seed. Great matchup. Hard-fought battle on both sides, and there you see the emotion on the Peoria High side of things. A lot of players, at least in my opinion, I'm no talent scout, but a lot of guys that can continue their careers into the next stage, whether that's D1, D2, or D3. Eddie Clark, in my eyes, is a Division I player. He's good enough to do that. I mean, Geno Hess, you look at Geno Hess, currently at SEMO, kind of the inspiration behind Eddie Clark, helped out Eddie Clark early in his career, and Clark carrying on that tradition of Peoria High running backs. I think Clark could play at the next level. So, you know, your heart goes out to him, really does. It's tough to see a season end, but Morgan Park, man, moving on. They'll probably face Kankakee. I'll make my prediction since I'm the color commentator and I can do that. Kankakee's going to beat Carbondale today, and I think it'll be Morgan Park and Kankakee in round 2. Boy, is that going to be a matchup and a half.
I'll make that prediction too. I don't, rules aside, I think Kankakee certainly on paper has the upper hand there. That game kicked off at 3 o'clock. So we'll see if we can get a score update on that before we toss it off the air. But, yeah, looking at this Peoria roster, not an exhaustive list of guys that have played their final games, but Jacob Wright, Eddie Clark, Deatrick Pollard, a couple of guys that walking off the field for the final time right now. You look at Jakeem Hahn, who had a couple of big defensive plays, and a slew of others. It is a relatively young team for Peoria. They've got a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors. The team will bounce back next year, and the Lions will be just fine. But an emotional afternoon, and especially for those Lions that had ambitions of making a run through the 5A playoffs. They fall in round 1 as the 8th seed, the 9th seeded Morgan Park Mustangs move on. A couple of scores from around the area. Playoff football as we look to send you away. Tremont, 19. Moments still scoreless. That's in the fourth quarter. Tremont looking good in a 2A battle. Mascoutah 28, Dunlap 14. That's in the fourth quarter. Dunlap looks like their season may come to an end. Wheaton St. Francis, who beat Peoria early in the season, leading Peoria Notre Dame 34-25. Marion, a 41-8 winner over Metamora in a 5A matchup there. Paxton Buckley Loda takes down Eureka 24-6, 2A action in that one. Actually, that's a 3A game, I believe.
Indeed.
Clark 26, Brimfield 16. Farmington 42, El Paso Gridley 6. The Farmers roll on in 2A. Deer Creek Mackinac 40, North Lawndale 14. And the game that we just saw in front of us, Morgan Park 50, Peoria 42.
Well, Joey, final thoughts on my end, and I've said it over and over, but Aaron Warren lived up to the hype, lived up to the billing, reading about him in the Chicago Sun-Times. He's legit. He's a guy that's going to be somebody to watch for years to come at the next level, but his career is far from over at the high school level. I think this Morgan Park team could surprise whoever they play next, probably Kankakee. It's going to be one heck of a matchup in the second round, but if you're Peoria High, like you said, they're going to bounce back next year. Head coach Tim Thornton has orchestrated quite the program that continues to have success year after year. But regardless, hard-fought battle for them tonight. Good job by the Lions to stay in it until the very end. Would have been easy for them to give up, especially based on how poorly they played in that fourth quarter. But they fought, and it came down to the final seconds. But Morgan Park able to come through. Joey, if you look up the Kankakee Athletic account, there it is. Kankakee's Athletics. There we go. Kankakee K's should have the score for us for Kankakee and Carbondale. We're working on looking that up in the booth.
Well, they had a score after the first Kankakee touchdown, but the most recent score coming from the Terrier Athletics account, Kankakee 10, Carbondale scoreless after 1 quarter of play. That's under a slew of spam links for fictional broadcasts of that one. Folks, don't trust ABC Sports TV, capital A, BC, not capitalized.
No need to shout them out.
Well, that's not a good place to watch the game. That'll give you a virus as we get ready to close this one out. 50-42. Morgan Park a winner over Peoria. Larry, any final thoughts as we wrap this one up?
Not really. Kind of left it all out there on the table. What a great football game between two great football teams. Coaches, players shaking hands. Good to see the sportsmanship. Best of luck to Morgan Park in round 2. Congrats to Peoria High, a team that we've watched all season long on a great season, and their seniors on great careers.
It was a hard-fought battle. Morgan Park 50, Peoria 42, our final score. Stay tuned to Clutch Sports Media's social media channels for information on where we'll be next week, round 2 of the IHSA playoffs across the state. For now, I'm Joey Wright alongside Larry Larson and the entire Clutch Sports Media team. Thank you for watching this presentation of ClutchSportsIL.com.